Hello, guys, and welcome to Truth and Transparency. Welcome, Friday night. I am glad that you chose myself to be on a date with you. It would not be a live broadcast on my channel without a preview or two. Got some cool stuff. We're gonna have, those guys that like to drink a lot. Wait, what are their names? What is it? The drunken? Are those like the? What are those? Is that like the Hot Boys? Biggie Smalls, Junior Mafia. Oh wait, the drunken. Yeah, that's it. The Drunken Turkey Show. I'm gonna have the Drunken Turkey Show on. Yeah, that's it. The Drunken Turkey Show. Here, check it out, guys.
It's a drunk turkey show, mother trucker!
There's no free rides in the ass or ass.
Starring Honey G, the Bigfoot hunter. Big Blue, the gyno for the
The
stars.
wrong shirt though.
Oh yeah.
I ordered the white tank top spaghetti strap.
And the spaceman Daniel J.
A friend named Jonathan Martinez.
Oh yeah, it was a trap house.
Really?
And I just learned that verbiage. Yeah, I just learned that verbiage. Yep, this Christmas. For Christmas I by the way. I got some I do. And she's a kid. And even it
You're looking just a little too hard at me, standing just a little too close to me. You say you're not quite enough to me. You're sipping just a little too slow for me. No doubt you play it real cool, homie. Got me thinking, what is it you do for me? Tripping a little more nasty, so let yourself go and get right with me.
sounds beautiful. Honestly, we prefer when we go there to stay in Moscow because it does.
Daniel J, Jamie, and Big.
Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Featuring part 2, expert witness Scott Roeder. That's the point. Guest hosts The Drunken Turkey Show. And as always, Truth and Transparency Home Team Productions. Like, I mean, can I not work my mic? Like, what is going on tonight? I just can't even get this to go. Like, I can't even believe this. Like, of all nights, I have Scott Roeder on. I have the Drunken Turkey Show on. I mean, you know how sexy Blue is? I mean, like, I got my best, like, God, and I can't even get my mic to work. Like, why isn't this working? I can't even get my screen to work. Like, are all these guys backstage? Is everybody here? I don't even know what's going on right now. Want to thank all of the subscribers, the members, all the moderators. Tonight you guys are in for a very, very special episode. Oh no, she didn't. Wait, what? Are you guys? Oh yeah, come on in. You guys want to come to my house? Oh yeah, yeah. I have this like YouTube channel. I don't even know why I started one because it just brought me nothing but fucking hell. But I started this YouTube channel and there's this really sexy big blue guy, and then this drunken turkey. I think his name's Daniel, but I got this sexy like he's like a splatter. I thought he was a squirter, but he's a splatter expert. So I'm only here for you guys, and let's just see what happens, right? Very, very special episode.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself feel at home, tell me where you've been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down.
Hi guys.
Hey, what's going on?
I had to do something special for you guys.
Oh, we appreciate.
Oh,
was
did
pretty
you like that?
I did. I was laughing. I was laughing through it. It was good.
You know, I was like, okay, what can I do? I got to welcome you to my house somehow. And then I was stalling for Scott, so I was like, okay, I'll do a little intro. So I just like
Nice.
improv that. Hi
Nice.
guys, welcome to the Transparency.
Thank you for having us on. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to this, especially having your other guest on.
I know Scott's gonna be great. He said he was in where's he at? He's in Moscow. He's in bad reception. I'm just playing. He said he is joining. He's trying to get better service. I said, all right, well, we'll see you when you get here because we have lots to talk about. Again, thank you guys so much for having me on your channel. Now I get to return the favor. Let me see your eyes there, Daniel. How you feeling?
I'm pretty good.
So
Yeah.
let's. A lot of people don't know who you guys are. So you guys have a channel. Why'd you start it? What are you trying to do with it? What's up?
Well, it all started when Blue didn't achieve his childhood dream of being a childhood actor, and we had to change it up a little bit.
Did you try to make NSYNC? Is that what happened?
We were trying to be the boy bands. It didn't work. We
Oh,
couldn't sing a
man.
tune. Yeah. Nah, actually, we've known each other, me, Blue, and Hyman. He's in the middle of moving, and so he's been unavailable these last few days.
House.
And so, well, we've all known each other since like 6th, 7th grade. And long story
Wow.
short, probably about 2-3 years ago, we started talking about making a podcast. But our podcast idea was more on, talking about conspiracies, UFOs, missing 411.
Wait, did you say UFOs?
Yeah.
Wow.
100%. And so we actually started our venture in this podcast thing probably around July or so. And our first deep dive or whatever, or our first conversation was on Bob Lazar. And and so we were talking about Area 51 and UFOs and things of that nature. And sometime around December, somebody said we got a
Like
recommendation.
this past December?
Yeah, just a couple months ago. We had a recommendation to cover what was it, the Delphi case. Richard Allen had just gotten arrested. And they're like, hey,
Okay.
why don't you guys talk about this? And so we did one show on true crime, and we just started going through the roof. And so,
Off of Delphi.
well, Delphi got us to we were at about 150 subs December 5th. And then
I thought you were about to say 150,000.
no, 150.
Who are these guys, man? Why'd you sign me up for this?
We were at 150 subs December 5th. And then we did Delphi, and we got to probably about maybe 1,300 or so. And when we started talking about the Idaho incident, we just started just kind of what we wanted to do was just put out information that was based on real information that was out there, right? We'd seen a couple of other true crime stuff just because people were asking us to deep dive into things.
Yeah.
So we did our homework to see what else was out there. And we saw a lot of things that weren't completely evidentiary based, right?
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
you had some people that were relying on tarot cards or spirit
God.
boxes, things of that nature. And so what we wanted to do is like, hey, if we're going to take on this journey, let's try to be as evidentiary, factual as we possibly can. And it just based on doing that and sticking to that kind of model, so to speak, it really propelled us into like it's gone crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we were at 154 subs December 5th, somewhere around there. Right now, we're sitting at just under 29,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
You're
just
not
like it was
drinking
like,
tonight with us?
oh, come on now.
Oh
You got
man,
mine
Come
right
on.
here.
A straight Jameson, baby. Straight
Like
Jameson.
I'm doing a little bit of a Dramu. I think that's
What
what
do
it's called, Dramu.
Oh, you are.
I don't
So
have
you're
my
ready.
laptop today.
Oh, so are you
Oh,
you
yeah.
all mobile?
Yeah, I'm on mobile. I came to visit my parents, and
Aw.
I had to mix it with some Mexican Coke. You know, the good stuff.
Oh, good, good.
hey, you can't. People don't know that what that is, Blue. People are gonna think that's
Oh.
something bad. Mexican Coca-Cola.
I'm mixing
has
it
a
with
pure
I'm
cane
mixing it with
sugar.
Coke. Mm.
It used to be.
It
Hey,
used to be.
He means Coca-Cola. He means Coca-Cola. So you basically started your channel, did Delphi for just a hot second
Mhm.
in December, then went to the University of Idaho murders, and then here we are at the end of January, right?
Yeah, and hopefully we can hit that 30K. We're just shy of it. That's our goal next month.
Well, here we
always
go.
look.
Truth and transparency. I was over there last Friday. They're over here this Friday, and we're going to talk about so many things that we're bringing on an expert witness, Scott Roeder, to talk about. He said no softball questions tonight, Lana. Bring it like you would bring it on, he's like, I've testified before, obviously both sides, prosecution, defense. And I said, perfect. Then we're going to end our show with Scott. But we left off last week. I know that you guys have had a one by the name of Kim on. Okay.
Mhm.
Just so everybody knows, Kim supplied her phone records, and they do corroborate the fact that she did call the police in some capacity on that 14th, right?
Right. She called the police on the 14th. I think it's the 15th. She contacted the FBI as well.
Okay. So all I want to say about that one, so when people are saying like, hey, is Kim coming? Is this bottom line is that I liked what you said at the beginning. You're like, hey, we want to be factual. We want to be this. Absolutely same thing. I'm all over that. And Kim did call the police / the FBI / law enforcement to say, hey, something isn't adding up here, and I just want to reach out in some capacity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the phone records do reflect that. This isn't like she called, a month or two later. This happened before any of us in this, true crime YouTube world got wind of something. That woman had already called. And I had seen, the records, and I had talked to you guys when I was on the platform, and I said, okay, I don't feel comfortable with some of this. And it was more just like about I have no idea where this is going. Not that I don't feel comfortable with your person. It was more like, I have no idea what we're talking about, and we're going to start throwing out names. That was the only part about it.
Right. Well, at that point, the conversation kind of got not out of hand, but everybody was drinking, having a good time. And
Yeah,
it was probably
exactly.
going down the rabbit hole
Just
versus.
like, well, people may even not have known who Kim was, and then they're just getting a glimpse at her.
Right.
But I can at least attest to this, and I'm not here to vouch for anybody, but what I can say is I saw those phone records They were personally given to me. I saw them. Her name was on them. That's her number. And the phone record said the following, which was that she did call law enforcement, right?
Yeah. I mean, and like I tell as many people as I possibly can. When she came on and she called, she told me, I got some information for you. I'll tell you off air. I called her back. I think that was on Friday. We did another show, or no, you know what? That was like on Wednesday. We did another show on Friday that was about UFOs. It was about Russia shooting down a UFO and claiming they have visual proof of it or whatever. So we broke it, broke that down, had a little different, something lighthearted that we're more used to. And, and, and so a lot of people in our comment section was like, getting on to me saying you're holding on to information, this, that, and the third, right? But the thing is, at that point, I hadn't gotten the information that I wanted, that I felt comfortable saying what she told me without being a little bit more confident that she was at least who she said she was.
Yeah.
So I was able to backtrack her information that she gave me and figured out that, she was who she was. And at that point, I clipped out a segment and put that segment out, sped up. She doesn't talk that fast. It was sped up. and go ahead.
I know. I think
is,
go ahead, Blue.
Okay. I fell asleep because she talks too slow.
What?
Shit. Drink. You have to do a shot for that comment.
Yeah, very much so.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, she's not on anything. She talks fast naturally, and then I sped her up also, so it made it worse. And that was my apologies. By the time I realized it, it'd been out for a while, so I didn't feel the point to redo the video when I was going to send out another video explaining what she told me, the next morning.
Okay, so we basically took care of, because I kind of wanted to end. I wanted to start where we ended. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to think, because I didn't know if Kim was going to come on or not, or I didn't know that, and
I didn't know either.
Yeah, it just happened. So how about this? I got a lot of bombshells I want to bring at you guys, and I want you to tell me what you guys think.
All right, let's do it.
I've basically waited literally all week to hold back so that we can talk about it here tonight.
All right.
So guess what? We'll start right off the rip. Brian Kohlberger. People either think that he is the guy, he is the only guy, and or he was possibly framed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or there was multiple people and Brian's one of them. I think those are the three. That's the triangle. Is that either he was completely framed, or he was one of multiple people, okay? Or he just did it. I mean, where else are you going to go with this, right?
Right.
So Brian, the white Elantra that Brian drives, and they say it's Brian getting out of a vehicle on Sunday at noon, the day of the 911 call, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went to Albertsons, right? What is it? Grocery store, right?
Grocery store, yeah.
Okay. So I want you guys to see something. Have you guys ever looked at a map to see what's around there?
I've seen some coverage of it. There's a creek, ain't there?
Well, I want to show you guys. I think I have it already.
I didn't dive into this Albertsons situation because I think I was out of town when that came out, because I went to Pittsburgh for a little bit. And where did that come out of? Because I really
out of the PCA. Out of the PCA.
It was in the PCA?
Yeah, yep. That he then the next day is, there's that his phone hit on a Moscow Idaho.
Right.
That was at 9:12 to 9:21. But then at noonish, 12:30, he was out over at in Washington at Clarkson and it was Kate's
right.
Cup of Joe / the grocery store, and that they saw him get out of a white Elantra, and then he walked in, and then he bought a few items. Okay. And they have him like basically leaving around like 1:04 p.m. on the 13th, that Sunday.
Yeah.
And then he kind of disappears, like in terms of like they don't talk about it anymore, like where he could have been, because they just don't speak about it.
Right.
And then they have him back on in the PCA. They talk like, okay, well he's back here at like 5:32 p.m. and he's in a different part of, which is AKA Johnson, Idaho, which is where he was the night before.
Mhm.
And he's just there for like a hot second. And then he's off the radar allegedly again until like 8:32. Okay.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I've been digging through this PCA like you wouldn't believe, right?
Right.
So, digging through the PCA, trying to find like, because the, Fry and the rest of his crew, even like Bill Thompson, prosecutor, came out and said, hey, we're trying to find anything that we can about this man. We want to know anything and everything. We want more about Brian Kohlberger, right?
Mhm.
Anything you can find on this man, we want him. Anything, just bring it. So I was like, okay, let's go and look at this Clark. Let's look over where he was getting this like Albertsons grocery store, right?
Mhm.
He's a vegan. He wants to buy vegan food. Well, a girl who has a podcast, she said, hey, have you ever looked into the area by where he went? And I was on her podcast this morning. It was Jay for Justice. You guys go check it out.
Mhm.
And I had worked with Jay previously back in 2020 and 2021. And so like we'll talk. Again, it was today at like 11 a.m. that we were doing this. She's East Coast. And so we were going back and forth on a couple different things. And then she's like, well, the craziest thing is there's this like car dealership that's called like Funks, like Funke.
Mhm.
And like, obviously that's the name of one of the surviving roommates' last names, right? And I was like, okay, well, let's just call him. Because not only is it a dealership, it's also a detail. Like if you were to get your car detailed,
Mhm.
it's like you would get your
Right.
car detailed. Like if you like, so I was like, okay, well, did the police, like it's like literally right there. So what I want to show you guys on this screen is I want to bring up where like, you could walk to literally this place from Albertsons grocery store. It's a 2-minute walk. It's like right across the street.
Right.
And so I
Okay.
was thinking to myself, well, they would have to check. Like if he went out there, you think he drove 40 minutes to go and get a cup of Joe? Come on.
Right.
Like, so I was like, okay, what else is over there? So she's like, well, there's this place that has like literally the same last name as one of the surviving roommates. And it's called Funky. I don't know what she calls
The
herself, but
pronunciation.
right. Yeah. But it's the same way that it's spelled. And it's an auto sales place, but it's also a car detail. And I was like, car detail? Are you shitting me right now? And so like that to me like grabbed my attention. So check this out. Ready? So I want to show you something. I want you guys to tell me what you guys think about this. Because you got a little bit of background in you. So here he goes. Curious on your thoughts of, let's see, live. Here we go. I'm going to pull this up so it's big and bad and proud. All right, hold on. All right, ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to add this to the frame.
Oh, and those asking about Jaime, he's not gonna be here tonight. He's
Aw.
still in the middle of moving. Yeah. his internet has been in and out. It's been pretty horrible, and it's because he's hot spotting it from his phone to his tablet. It's not working the best sometimes.
And he might not be. The cars you're selling. I don't like a shit ton. All right, there it is. Do you see that right there?
Yeah.
All right, so this is this auto renovation shop, but it details cars. So like, think about this. If you think Brian Kohlberger is the guy, he's out there literally right across from where he is right there, that Albertsons, like it's like literally like you could see it. That's like walking, not driving, but walking. It will take you 2 minutes. It's like literally right across the street. Can you see that right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I first saw that, I was like, holy shit, really? Like, this is huge for the prosecution. Like, because did he go and get his car detailed? Went one step further and I saw that, oh shit, on Sundays, they're not open. But that doesn't mean that you can't drop your car off and leave your keys, right?
Maybe. I don't think that would be a smart idea. I don't think Brian is as stupid as people think he is.
Correct, right?
Yeah. If he did this, the police would have gone by and talked to these guys. And it would have been obvious to talk to them. They would have canvassed the area of where he was at, where he was pinged at or seen.
Okay, so how about this? I'm going to go ahead and I called him on the phone live this morning.
Oh, did you? All right.
Yeah, you want to hear it?
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Here we go. Check this out. Because I would understand. I would have been like, dude, they had to canvass this, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. It's a 2-minute walk. It's 2 minutes. It's a walk. You could see it. This literally is right where he was. Okay.
20 new members?
And so I was like, you know what? I want to give him a call. And I just want to ask if you have to have an appointment. You know, how long, you can I just walk in there and be like, hey, I want to get my car detailed.
Yeah. Are you going to call him right now?
Yeah, I was going to give him a call right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask him, I'm going to give him a VIN number and I'm just going to ask him if they've ever had this car in there. Because guess what? They're closed on Sundays. They're closed on Sundays. And that would be, this would happen on a Sunday. So I'm wondering if you're able to drop off your vehicle because there is there's a enterprise that'll pick you up. So I'm just curious when they want to talk about, I try to talk about everything
Right. I mean, this is kind of a weird find. Yeah. I mean,
it's right next to that grocery store. They do detail. And did he possibly drop off his vehicle? Not only did he drop off his vehicle, could he have gotten a rental car? Again, playing it fair. So let's go ahead and call and let's see if you have to have an appointment. If they have a drop box, could I drop my car off there?
Yeah, let's see. This is called secret shopping. This isn't pranking. This is secret shopping.
This is 100%.
I used to do this when I was marketing. I used to have to call my competitors and secret shop.
Yeah. So we're just curious do you have to have an appointment? Have you always been closed on Sundays? Stuff like that. And figure that you guys can just come along for a.
I'm going to mute because my dog's barking.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we're just generally asking some questions.
Yeah, do you have to have an appointment? How does this work? How much is it to get your car detailed? I mean, I need a detail. But let's be some proactive citizens here.
Absolutely. We are calling Funk's Auto Sales in Clarkston, Washington.
Maybe the 60 agents missed this, so we can help them. I know a guy.
61, but who's counting?
Yeah, we're the 61s. Hello. Hey, is this Funkies? Yeah. Oh, hey, how are you? Got a quick question for you guys. Do you do appointments for your guys' detail? How does that work?
Yeah, that's what you just got to bring it by and have me look at it. I give you a price, and if you want it done, then I do it for you.
Okay, and then how long does it take? Like, do I just drop it off?
Sometimes a lot of them I go in there and take the seats, the carpet, everything. A lot of them have 2 or 3 days.
Okay, so you can take it for 2 or 3 days. Okay. Question then for you: do I need an appointment? Like, you guys aren't open on Sundays, are you?
No.
Okay, and then I had a guy that wants to sell me a car. And he said that he got his car, like, you know, I'm not going to get played over here. So, do you guys keep track if like you on cars that you've ever worked on so I don't get screwed? Like,
It's what?
Like this guy said that he got his car done over at your guys' place and that it's in like mint shape. And I'm just wondering, can you guys like,
How long ago?
I don't know. He said like he did it in like November.
What's his name?
I have a VIN number. I asked him for a VIN. Do you guys do VIN numbers?
I don't have VIN numbers. I don't keep that kind of track of stuff.
Okay. Well, his name's Brian Kohlberger.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember it, but I
Can he look it up?
could have. I can't tell you.
Okay, right there.
Mhm. That's
He
interesting.
doesn't even know who it is.
Yeah.
I would want him on my jury. You know, all this publicity, right? So he wouldn't have he didn't say anything like, oh, the police have already been here. Yeah, they asked me about that.
Right.
So one step further.
That-
What kind of car is it?
He has it's a white, what is it? An Elantra. It's a 2015. It looks like it's in great shape, but he's put on like a shit ton of miles. So I was like, kind of like, what the heck?
Lots of tire changes too.
I don't remember it off the top of my head. I could have done it, but I don't remember that.
Okay. And then so if I want to have mine done,
You
because
just probably got to bring it by and let me look at it.
all right,
What it comes down to.
all right, it's a BMW, but I don't know how you're gonna get the seats. Can you get the seats out of BMWs?
Well, BMWs, you usually have a lot of problems with them.
Okay, so well, that's why I'm getting rid of it.
Yeah, I tell you the truth, you got a BMW. I don't even really want to clean it for you. I've had so many electrical issues with those cars. I don't like them in my shop.
Okay, I don't blame you. Trust me, that's why I'm getting rid of it. It's a piece.
Okay.
I mean, no, I love it. It
It's a
looks
piece.
nice, but It's a so piece. There's no way you could tell. So I should just tell this guy to kick rocks.
Can he look him up by his name?
Like what?
So there's no way. There's no way that you know if you ever worked on that car. I'm just.
Well, I can't recall it. I mean, I could go back and look in my book to see if I got a Brian something in here, but
Okay.
I don't honestly. Off the top of my head, I don't remember it.
Do you guys sell any white Elantras? Maybe I should go just buy from you guys. Shit.
You know,
What do you guys have in the lot? Anything that I drive a lot, so he's already.
yeah, I don't see any Brian. You know, I'm looking back.
Kohlberger.
Okay, yeah, because he
You know,
told me
I
this
couldn't
is.
have done it.
Yeah.
You know what? I might have done it like a long time ago. God,
He told me it was
know.
right before Thanksgiving, is what he said to me. He's like, I got it done right before Thanksgiving. It was, what was it? I have it right here on my sticky note. Okay. He said, but that doesn't make any sense because I looked and you guys aren't even open on Sundays. He said it would have been dropped off on like the 13th of November. And I was like, that's a Sunday. Like, they're not even open. I wonder if he's just playing with me.
I can't off the top of my head
Okay.
remember. I mean,
You probably do so many, so I get it. Ugh.
We found juror number 1.
okay,
So a couple questions here for you guys. So the whole purpose for me doing this was to see. I just wanted to know if I could drop off a vehicle. Does that make sense? Like, I just wanted to know
Right.
if I could drop off a vehicle.
No.
And he ends up talking about it here, but he has no idea who I'm talking about. I didn't even want to give that name out.
Right.
Because I have no idea if that's even who I talk to. Like, I get people emailing me all the time. So I don't even know, like, does this person want this? Does this person want that? But point of the matter is we're talking about a process here. We're talking about, this guy then goes on to say, like, he does not take credit cards.
Mhm.
That you have to have an appointment or you have to bring by your car so that he can tell you, but it's like 2 or 3 days. But at the end of the day, this is what they do. Like, they destroy cars apart, clean them, and make them look like brand new. And that's like literally like he was right next to this place.
Yeah, I mean that's
So, and he had
it's
no idea who
interesting.
the hell I was talking about.
Yeah, I find it more interesting the fact that maybe that the police didn't canvass this area.
And that's
You
why
know,
right when you said what you said, I said, I want you to hear this then, because I was blown away because all I wanted to know, I'm over here trying to give like leads to literally the prosecutor's office. I'm over here like, okay, they say, hey, we want everything that we can possibly find on this guy, right?
right?
Like we need to know everything we can about this guy. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, every time I try to go give a lead, it leads me straight into the fucking ground.
right.
Like I fall, I just face plant.
No, I understand that. I find this more interesting.
And
the
then this
fact-
guy's telling me he doesn't take. Here, let me give you a VIN number. Let me give you this. Oh, I'd have to look at my November calendar.
That's because he don't take cards because he can hide the cash. Any
tax
business knows that.
purposes. Yeah,
Yeah, for
You know,
tax purposes.
Boo's not right. Boo's not wrong. He's
no,
absolutely right.
I say that in. I mean, I can continue playing this for you because a couple things because I keep asking about. Because then I looked at this. It was a Sunday. I want everybody to understand it's a Sunday. This place isn't open on a Sunday, but they have a slip where you can put your keys in, leave the car. You have the keys, and then I could take a rental car. So I would then have a rental car that I'm driving around with, for the next 4 or 5 days. Does that make sense? So then,
No,
therefore,
it's
you would
good.
not be able to find in the parking lot of where you were trying to find me, Brian Kohlberger, for all this time. You wouldn't be able to find me. Make sense? Like, there's no white Elantra, right? Because I have a rental car. I was just trying every way possible to put. Why would Brian Kohlberger go out to that area? And then, of all places, he's literally right next door to this type of a place. But they don't talk about it in the PCA because they're trying to hold their cards back, right?
But the problem with the rental car thing is they require a credit card to be used. There would be some digital footprint of him getting a rental car during that time.
Beth made a good point here. She said the same that I am sure the police canvassed this whole thing. So my whole point is that Brian Kohlberger was next to a place that details cars without credit cards. He could have taken his car to literally get detailed, right?
I mean, it's possible.
But he didn't. I don't think he did.
No, I don't think he did either. But what I find interesting about this is just the lack of the canvassing. And it makes it's concerning. There's a lot of me and Blue and Hyman went through it the other day. We were looking at some of the cases that have or strange incidences that have occurred in the Moscow Pullman area, and there's extensive questions. There's a lot of stuff going on in that little town, and there's a constant theme. After an incident occurs, it's like, oh, it's a single event. It's nobody's at threat. This, that, and the third, and it just reeks of protecting the school as far as their liability from, the police. I mean, you saw it in the body cam footage that you brought out. They went to that house a couple of times without any punishment for it. They just let it slide. And when you let things slide like that over and over again, it's a slippery slope. And not saying any of that had anything to do with the incident.
Yeah, no, it's about procedure.
But there are a lot of accidents and a lot of things that are occurring in their hazing and stuff like that. That the police department needs to be looked at some of this stuff because I'm concerned about it.
Okay, so then I was told about I want you to see one more thing, just so I can bring you guys all the latest and the greatest. So I want you to see something here. Ellen?
Well,
we were looking at the Carfax,
Right.
But it's 2A.
I just wanted the date though too.
Yeah, write down because we can Freedom of Information Act.
Okay, so right here. She was letting me know about a Whitman District Court case that involved this Bethany Grace Funk.
Right.
So today, after we got off the show, I was like, okay, we're going to just go and we're going to try to request this. Like, here's the case number. We have the case number. We have the person. Let's just see what this is about. This is what we got. Ready? We got some information. What we got was number one, this person did not put down 1122 King Road as their address. Number one. Number two, they got pulled over. It was a traffic stop violation.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what it was?
What they got pulled over for?
What did Bethany get pulled over for? I thought that Bethany didn't have a vehicle.
No
license.
Remember everybody said that Bethany didn't drive, Bethany didn't have a car. Well, on 10/10/2022, what did she get pulled over for?
Speed.
No.
Tailgating.
DWI.
Yeah. Driving too close. The same thing that Brian Kohlberger got pulled over for.
Yeah. Yeah, I said no seatbelt because wasn't that what Brian Kohlberger got pulled over for the first time in Moscow on August, right? I think it was no seatbelt. And that's why I said that first. And then I was like, well, probably the tailgating.
Yeah. So I want to know whose car she was driving. Whose car was Bethany driving on 10/10/2022, a month before the murders, that she got pulled over for tailgating because I thought she didn't have a car. I said I never said that, but people would say that to me.
Right.
You know, people are like, because I was like, where's Dylan's car? Where, you know, you see all the cars out in the front. Where's Dylan's?
Right.
Where's Bethany's? She got literally pulled over for tailgate, you know, driving too, they say driving too close. And then guess what? That was on whenever it was 10/10/2022.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't pay the fine. And then, so she had a $50-some fee on top of what you would have paid.
Right.
And she paid it on December 13th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the day before the girl took a picture of the white Elantra, or I should say, like, when it came viral. So Bethany paid her $200 and some. Was it $250? I think it was like $252.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to know what car was she driving? What car was she driving? What address did she give? Because she did not give the 1122 King address.
The citation always has a license plate number.
They
may have gotten citations.
Right, but they may have used the address on her driver's license. If she had just moved there and she hadn't changed her driver's license, that may have been the reason why they didn't put the
Wait, she just moved where?
Like if she had just moved to that house or that area within the last
they're going to go off of her driver's license, right?
All right. So if her driver's license is from somewhere else, then, or if she had changed her driver's license to something previously, then that would explain it. Like for most of the time, what ends up happening when there's a police stop, they'll grab the driver's license, take it back, and use the information on the driver's license for the citation.
I think that's. I'm all for. I don't give a shit about that. I'm gonna be honest. I care about. I want to know what vehicle she was driving. Yeah. What vehicle was she driving? Because everybody and their mother said that she didn't have a vehicle on campus. She didn't drive a vehicle because she didn't have a vehicle. Well, whose vehicle was she driving?
Did she have a boyfriend?
Maybe she was driving one of the other people home.
That was a month before the murders.
Right.
Yeah, maybe they got too drunk and she had to drive him home as a designated driver.
There you go. 10/10/2022. So we called on it, and it was.
What was the date and time of the infraction?
This is what I gave. This is all I know. All I can tell you is that we know that the infraction was XYZ, which would be tailgating, aka driving too close. And I'm over here like, you guys really get pulled over for that? Like, and then Whitman County, or Whitman District Court, just everybody knows what that is. That is over at, Washington. That's not in Moscow,
Right.
So you're over there. And then the address did not match the 1122 King address. So that would be her. And that's what I've always said about everybody. They have had their permanent addresses is on their driver's license. If they had a temporary one, they never gave it out because you can't register anything from it. But for me, I want to know whose vehicle was she driving when she got pulled over?
Yeah, it could be a lot of people.
But
Well,
those
isn't
are public.
that interesting though?
Those are public records. You can find out on that.
Well, Blue, then I'm going to put you on that. Blue, I got you this far, man. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you what the ticket was for. It was a 10-on-2 type of traffic ticket. She got pulled over, but she didn't pay it. So then it got doubled. Not in doubled, but it was like $56 increased for the late fee. Then she ends up paying it during like 12/13/2022. Like this is like during the midst of all of this, she decides that, oh my God, I have to pay this fee, this fine.
The police also could have told her like, hey, you have this going on. This is going to turn into a warrant if you don't go take care of it.
Exactly.
She's probably, I'm concerned more about other things. Did you see the release of the what is it, the discovery? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, but what do you think about it?
I think it's a little. There's not enough in there.
Are you talking about just like the 3 or 4 pages?
Exhibit A. And what they just turned over.
Let me see if that's what I'm thinking of. Hold on, let me pull this up.
I believe it was the motion granted for discovery, and they turned over all the discovery. It came out to like 195 pages of written stuff, like 1,800 and something odd pictures, 1 audio video file, something like that. I don't have.
Okay, so but was it actually 995 pages? Is that what you mean?
Oh, it said like 1 through 100 through 900 and something. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, so this is what I have. I have they did was it it was e-filed at 3:08 p.m. on 1/23. Okay, cool.
I don't understand why they only have 1 audio video file. Like, didn't they interview a lot of people?
Well, that's what we're going to get into. Is I've been saying since day one. Did you have your body cam on when you were interviewing people?
That would have been the smartest thing to do. But
like, it's just, hey, I'm here. Like, why are you not?
Right.
So
I have 1,800 photos, something like that.
That's what I have. Yep. 1886.
That's going to be majority of that's going to be the crime scene. Which sounds about right. I mean, you're looking at a bunch of different areas. You're looking at the 3rd floor bedroom. You're looking at the 2nd floor bedroom. Any area in which they suspect that the suspect walked through where they didn't suspect. I mean that place should be covered in pictures.
Okay, so what do you think about number 2? Any written or recorded statements of a co-defendant and the substance of any relevant oral statement made by a co-defendant, whether before or after arrest, in response to interrogation by any person known by the co-defendant to be a peace officer or an agent of the prosecuting attorney, have been or will be disclosed or otherwise made available. See Exhibit A.
Right. I saw that as well. And that was the part where they were requesting that information, right?
Yeah, well, that was their response. That was their response to it. The response is like, they said, okay, in the district court of the 2nd. Yeah, I mean, this is all.
I'll just pull this up real quick. because I believe. I was
Okay,
reading
yeah.
it,
Her
it
thing
looked
was
like
like,
it
yeah,
was
that was her response for number 2 was her like what she wanted, right?
right to reflect to Exhibit A. Like they just put reflect to Exhibit A on everything, but that was what she was asking for, and then they put Exhibit A consisted of everything. So all of the things that she was asking for were that reference to Exhibit A is just a coverall. Whether it's in there or not, they're going to say, "Well, check out Exhibit A."
They're just trying to say that that's what we have.
That's what, based
Yeah,
on what they
that's what
asked
they're
for,
saying.
and 995 pages. Like some of that's going to be, or a lot of that's going to be, your arrest report, your evidence report, your reports of
Okay,
chain of.
so I have right here on 12 or I'm sorry, on 11/23, they say that they took 4,000 pictures. 4,000 pictures, and that has nothing to do with they took 4,000 crime scene photos. And
Yeah.
so all they turned over was 1886, 1865.
Right.
So they turned
They
over
don't.
less than half.
Right. They don't. I don't know why they would do that. I mean, yeah, that sounds pretty. This doesn't sound like it should be true, but it probably is.
So wouldn't like let me ask you guys a question. Let's ask the audience a question here. We have 2,000 people in chat. If you have a case and it's just so money, like I coached girls basketball and I either had like the best teams or I just took a team and I had developed them. And so I had to coach them. So therefore I had to get creative. And when I had to get creative, I had to like coach more and like be on all over the refs and like, hey, be on them so that I can get every call to go my way because we are not that talented. So when you have a supposedly like a slam dunk, like Brian Kohlberger is the man. He is a weirdo, psychopath, sociopath, whatever you want to call him. He's your dude. Here's all of this evidence. Like it's just like boom, 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 boom. He's the dot. Like he's the guy. There's nobody else involved. It's just him.
Right.
Why is there all this secret society?
I mean, there's some weird stuff there. There's a lot of mistakes that are being made by this, the police department there, in my opinion. I was listening to a show earlier today and they were talking about the scene and they were talking about how the police department utilized the stools to secure the back door.
Remember we were talking about that. Did you think it was the police or the girls?
Right. And on that,
it's the police. The police did that.
Yeah, the podcast folks said that no, it was the police because this, that, and the third. I still don't think that's true. But if it were,
I think it was the police.
If it were the police that utilized those stools, that is a huge mistake.
Bunch of doorknobs. Well, that's what you're dealing with.
And I mean,
wait. So like, okay, like let's just say that it was like that. Then how did the killer get in?
No, then that would have been, he wouldn't have been able to get out and then put the stools there. It would have had to have been executed by one of the surviving roommates after he had left.
But I still say, like, why can't the killer leave out the top roof, off the top? Like, why can't they just jump off the balcony onto the couch and whimper and be like, that's a thud and like a, and then, you know what I mean?
That doesn't make sense with the story that Dylan says.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
If the police said that, then they would have, or if they were to allude that was possible.
Well, they say at 4:17 they hear a thud and then whimper and then a dog bark or a couple barks.
Right.
How about this?
Well, I think there would have been a disturbance there where he jumped and landed.
Onto the couch.
From the third floor onto the couch.
Yeah, onto the balcony. That's not that far. I'm just only trying to show. Like,
where would he have landed at?
No, he would have jumped from the balcony onto the couch.
Oh, onto the couch.
It would have been like a 7-foot drop, maybe.
That's nothing. Are you serious?
Right. Yeah, no, I'm not saying
I'm
that.
only trying
I
to
thought
show,
that
like,
if he would have landed like on the
Can,
dirt or
there's no
can
something,
you
it
blood.
would have been
There's no
imagine me
blood.
jumping on that couch? I'll snap the couch in half. So
but
True blue.
there's no blood outside of the house either.
Yeah,
So if he would
that's
have
my
jumped out,
point.
if he would have jumped out the top,
He had just blood
there
flying,
would have
right?
been blood. Yeah, there should have been blood landing on the couch where he landed on it. You know what I'm saying? If he landed on that,
I couldn't agree more with you.
there would be blood on the couch.
Just where's all this blood? Like, if you're moving so fast to like get out of there, right? Because you have 404, you see the vehicle on camera. By the time he parks it, gets out, walks. When does he open the sheath? Like, when does he open the knife to say, like, I'm going?
My based on the information that they have, the only way that I can piece back this together is that he entered the rear sliding door, went upstairs.
So unlocked.
Yeah, unlocked. Went upstairs. This is based on the information
So he
that we have
passed.
there.
He passed Dylan's bedroom,
He may,
right?
Yeah, I assume so. I think that he had a target. I think he'd been watching these people for a minute, and I don't think Dylan was one of his targets. And so my assumption is that he went upstairs. I believe there is a certain coveralls that you can purchase from Walmart that are Dickies that have a pocket down the side where he potentially could have had the knife in the sheath, in the pocket, not on his belt, pulled the knife sheath out of the pocket, opened it, and committed the incident and forgetting about the sheath. I think that he locked the door behind him and couldn't get back in. But that's going based on the evidence that the police have put out there. That's the most likely scenario that I can imagine. You're muted, I think.
So, okay. So you,
Like, just based on what they say, that's the most likely scenario. I have question marks about it because my question marks are, I've seen a lot of, pictures and footage of people who have killed somebody and the person fought back. They're scratched, they're bruised, they're cut. It's deep. And you see the pictures where he's in that turtle suit where his neck is exposed and so are his shoulders. There's not any scars. Now, perhaps that these folk, maybe he was wearing those thick coveralls that I mentioned and an undershirt under that, but that's not going to protect the neck. If he only had a mask on his face, he wasn't an extremely tall guy. That's not going to protect his face from getting scratched. He cut himself, and maybe he did that on purpose to cut himself with the razor so that he can show how long it might take for him to heal. I don't know.
So,
because that was after the fact.
So I want everyone to really truly think about this. Let's talk about this sheath and let's talk about what do you think should be on it?
Well, I mean, honestly, if there's not a lot of evidence anywhere based on the PCA or anything. I think that it was accidentally left there. If it was his, obviously it is his, but if it was placed there.
That's speculation.
Right.
Somebody's still. Well, let me ask you this then. So, let's say me and you were like besties, right? Like me and you were roommates.
Okay.
All right. Me and you were roommates, and you're a cop and I'm a cop, but you're working and I'm not. All right. So you're already on duty. You get a call and you're there, but we work at the same, place. Like we're in the same department. Right. Would you text me and be like, "Holy shit, we have a quadruple homicide"? Would you ever text me that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's happened quite a bit of times.
Like you would like.
I mean, not that it was a homicide like that, but
you would like you would let me know, like, holy shit, dude, like XYZ, right?
Well, one and two, like officers will listen into the radio on their days off sometimes, and then they'll contact somebody on duty and say, "Hey,
Perfect.
you
Now let's
know,
say that like you're on duty, right? So you're going to be Officer Smith
mhm,
and I am Officer Payne. Okay.
right,
You get there at like 12 in the afternoon. A call comes in at 11:58. You get there at 12:12.
mhm,
Here I come and I get there at 4 p.m. You've been there. You have your body cam. You've been there since 12:12, p.m. What's the first thing that you would do as a responding officer to the situation?
At what time? Like this is as it's
Like,
happening, or
yeah,
this
no,
is
like,
after
yeah,
the
you're
effect?
like, hey, there's an unconscious person. Like, you're one of the responding officers.
Oh yeah, you're gonna turn on your cam and
Do you have your cam on the whole time because you're there? Is that how that works? Or
you should, based on policy, it should be turned on as soon as you arrive on the scene.
on scene, like you're there, you're on, right?
Right,
And
in
you
every
start talking to
situation.
somebody, right?
Right.
Okay, perfect. So as soon
Even
as you
if you're
start,
approached, like let's say you're on a lunch break and you're
okay,
in a gas station picking up food, and somebody comes up to you and says they have something going on, you're supposed to turn it on at that point.
you hit it. Okay. So perfect. So just like kind of like the body cams that I put out, like as soon as like they were met with activity, they hit it, right? And like it's
Right.
on, right? Okay, so check
Mhm.
this out. So you're on scene. I'm at home, but because you're Officer Smith and I'm Officer Payne, or I'm
Mhm.
Officer Blaker, it doesn't matter. I then show up at 4:00. You've been there since 12:12. And you say to me, hey, Lana, I'm going to walk you through this, Kate. I'm going to walk you through the house. And I'm like, all right, here we go. Do I have a pad of paper out? Do I just say, okay, I hit my body cam? What are we going to talk? Are we allowed to talk to each other? How do you,
No. There's an officer there taking a report of everybody that walks in and out,
yeah, the crime
logs,
scene
dogs,
log.
right, all that. And unless you have a reason to walk through it other than just to get shown it, they
No,
wouldn't allow it.
like here, like you're Officer Smith. So we're going to go to the PCA
Right.
here, and it says that Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. So like I got called in, hey guys, I'm here.
Right. So if you're an investigator, yeah, they would
Yeah, so
definitely
like
walk
you're
you through it.
walking me through. But
Right.
okay, so now you've been there since 12:00. Let's just for easy math sakes, you've been there for 4 hours. Make sense?
Right.
I come in, I get there at 4 p.m. You've been there since noon. Okay, perfect. So we walk in through the front door, and then you walk me. We're gonna go up the stairs, and we're gonna make an immediate right because that's what they say that they do. We do that, blah blah. My question is right here, as an officer. You say to me, after the second floor, we're then going to go upstairs. So you say, Officer Smith pointed out a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan, hereafter Mogan, bedroom with which was, situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. So here we go. We're going into the second page of the PCA, which says, as I entered this bedroom, I could see two females in a single bed in this room. Both Kaylee and Maddie were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed, okay, you're the one walking me through. Would you at any point tell me, Payne, check this out. I think we see like a knife sheath. Like you need to look at this, like right there. Because he says like, as I entered this bedroom. So he's not like observing from outside the room. He says he enters it. Okay. You walked me up there. You're telling me in the 4 hours that you've been there, you never told me while I was there with you to walk into the bedroom. Hey, take a look. Look at that sheath right there.
Right. No, yeah, I'm sure that conversation happened while they were walking through, or even before he walked in. He's going to say, we have two on this floor, two at the top. Somebody left the sheet. And
You
so,
think that,
but when he writes,
wait a second. So you think that that happened prior to walking in that bedroom?
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he walks up and, this is the first time he's on scene, that he's going to get briefed in some form or fashion as to what he's expected to see and what's there. But when you put down the report, it's just from a firsthand visual aspect of what you're seeing. Kind of like, all right, I saw here, this is what I saw. And
Okay,
then
but hold on,
pan
then I
this
have to back you
direction.
up. Okay, so that's perfect. That's how it should be, right? Then I have to back you up. The paragraph before says, I then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee's, I later learned in then parentheses, or I'm sorry, in quote, in parentheses, from review of Officer Noonan's body camera, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers initially responded. The dog belonged to, they never even ended, they ended it from reviewing of Officer Noonan's body camera.
Okay.
So what you're basically telling me is that here he's explaining how he got to the determination of why the dog and where it was, and he's not doing it firsthand. He's explaining where he got it. But when he talks in the second paragraph on page 2, as I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both these 2 people, Maddie and Kaylee, with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath lying on the bed. Later noticed that's a personal knowledge of later learning about it. He says, I later also noticed. So
Right.
that tells me that Officer Smith never told me about it. Because if Officer Smith would have told me about it, I would have been looking for it and I would have noted it on my initial entry.
Right. But I'm not seeing.
I want you to play devil's advocate with me. I want you to explain to me how I wouldn't have seen that the first time.
Right. I'm not saying that he didn't see it the first time. What he's doing is, when you write down the arrest report, it's supposed to be in chronological order as far as your firsthand point of view. Like, I'm sure I don't think you'll find many police reports or probable cause affidavits that underline the briefing that they took prior to walking into a crime scene. I don't think I've ever seen that before. What you're doing when you're writing this detail is, all right, you have that information, but you're walking in there with an open mind and open eye on what you're seeing. And so he's like, all right, I walked in, went to this room, I noticed this, that, and you pan off to the next thing that you notice. I get that he says later, but that just could be mean, chronologically, the first thing that he noticed was the gruesome
I call
scene.
bullshit on everything that you're saying.
Why?
I'm going to tell you why. Because of the language of the way that it's written. So let's just bear with me and read these 2 paragraphs one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Officers. So this is Officer Payne. I mean, this is what got Brian Kohlberger arrested, right?
Right. No, I understand.
On November 13th.
The fingerprint on the sheath got him arrested.
Yeah.
No. They were planning to exclude that. On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Officer Me and Blue here, we responded to 1122 King Road. Hey guys, we're here. We're here to assist with the scene security and processing of the crime scene, right? Because he says it's associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police, man, they were already there. So anybody that wants to say that Idaho State Police were not there before detectives, lie. Idaho State Police own this motherfucker. Idaho State Police are there. I have a drone. I will play it. I will show you that Idaho State Police are there before these people decide to show up, which is at 4 p.m. Your detective, like your motherfucker right here, Payne. What was he doing? He lives in Moscow. I have no idea. If somebody hits me up and says that we have 4 bodies, they're dead, I'm leaving anything that I would be doing with anybody that's family member, and I would be there. That's just our job. So then says MPD Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised, hey, he's going to walk me through the scene. So would he have his body cam on? You said yes, he would have his body cam on, right? If he's going to be prancing around. So he walks us through, right? Not just, that wouldn't be his first time through.
Well, this isn't a plainclothes guy, is it?
No. This is Officer. No, this is Officer Smith. Like
CID?
this is.
I'm looking at this. I'm just, somebody that's coming in second, getting.
So this is pain.
Briefed,
right? I'm getting. You're briefing me.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking through this. It says that he would advise me that he'd walk me through the scene. Walking through the scene would also indicate what they have. That's the briefing that I mentioned.
So he's 100%. I agree with you on all that.
But the objective for the detective or the officer in this situation is to be as descriptive as possible and walk as if you were explaining it for the first time.
So he did not see it his first time in there. So when he walked into the bedroom, the first time into the bedroom with Kaylee and Maddie, he did not see it.
So you're saying that the knife sheath was found on a second investigation or a second?
No. I'm simply saying this. I'm simply saying you're walking me through. If you would have told me, hey, you need to check out what's on the second floor or the third floor rather, because you had been there for 4 hours. I don't know how many times you were staring at whatever the hell you were doing. I'm only saying that I would love to know your body cam, to know what you were saying to me while I walked through this. Because if you are my boy, right? We're boys, we work together, right? Hey, pain.
Boys that work together
pain.
don't do that kind of clapping.
You need to check this out. Look at the third floor. Look at what we found. Wouldn't you tell me what you found?
Yeah, and I'm sure he was told. When he says he walked me through the scene, I think that was the briefing.
Let me tell you why. Because when he had to talk about the dog, he had to talk about Noonan's body cam. That's how he knew where the dog was. Right?
Right.
So when he talks about this sheath, he says, as I entered this bedroom, I could see two females in the single bed in the room. Both Kaylee and Maddie were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather sheath lying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. He didn't say just the way he found out about the dog and gave his source. He says he later found out about it because he was back up there to look at it again. Make sense?
No, I get what you're saying, but what he's saying is he's describing his scene from the door. He walked in, he saw first the scene between the two girls laying there, and then he noticed the sheath. I think it's just probably bad wording on his part by saying later. He should have said then noticed the sheath, or secondly noticed the sheath. But the reason why I believe that is because he said when viewed from the door. So what he's doing is he's describing a panning of what he's seen from probably left to right. I'm assuming the bed's on the left side. I'm assuming that the sheath was on the right side of the bodies based on that information.
So perfect. So what you're saying is that if you're on the stand and how you're interpreting this, if I was to interrogate you or ask you, you would say, well, what I was saying is that I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife. So you noticed that on your own in your first pass through.
Right, but first he noticed the bodies, and then I would have probably worded it. First, I noticed this body, and then the second body next to her, and thirdly the sheath. If that's where it was at, that's how I would have worded it. But not everybody words everything the same.
Perfect. So let me ask you this then: you'd have your body cam on if you were to walk through that scene. Would it be on?
Yeah, for sure. Everything would 100%. Be recorded during that time.
Okay, perfect. So do you think that he looked at his body cam before he wrote this up?
And it's possible. I've heard that. That's just to be accurate.
So you're saying that you believe that he walked, let me ask you what you think. He walked into the room and that he's just simply saying, as I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females, blah, 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 blah. I also later noticed, you're saying that's in the same trip though, while
No,
he's in
I
that
think
room.
I know some officers they'll they won't look at the body cam right away. They're going off of memory recollection.
Yeah, but
when they're doing
a
the report.
situation of this high
Well, for this
profile or
piece,
serious,
yeah, for the
it-
PCA, you have
and
to, like, what are you
and not to
saying?
mention the amount of information that officer would be reporting, I wouldn't find it surprising that he would have gone back and looked at his camera to make sure that he was factually correct.
Yeah.
In
So,
a minute,
but do you think that, okay, let me ask you this. I want to break it down so simple for you. Me and you, I'm Officer Smith. I'm Officer
Right.
Smith, right?
No, I understand what you're saying.
So I'm just
I
like
get-
this. Hey, Payne, I'm going to walk you through it. This, when I walked in, I saw this, and then I just shut my mouth. Then I came up here and I saw this, and I just shut my mouth. I'm asking you, how do you, from your experiences, do you think, because the body cam is going to tell us all of this, but I'm telling you right here what this is saying right here. I'm going to tell you what this is saying in language of me and you talking.
Right.
You said to me, or you wrote this when you first wrote this, just so we know, if you were on the stand and I was interrogating you, or I was like the defense attorney and I was like, hey, thank you so much for being here, Officer Daniel, right? Hi, Daniel, how are you? You said that when you walked through the house, you said that I later learned from reviewing Officer Noonan's body cam that there was a dog in the room when the Moscow officers initially responded. Is that so? You didn't get to see the dog. Did you ever see the dog?
I would assume that officer didn't, based on the probable cause affidavit.
So you would say, yeah, I never saw the dog. I reviewed and that's why it's in there like that, right?
Right.
Perfect. So you never saw the dog, Officer Daniel?
Probably not, no.
Okay. So then you said that the dog belonged to Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend, and you found that out because you interviewed Jack. Is that true?
I'm not sure if they did.
Is that what you put here in the affidavit? You'd be like, yeah, sure, that's what I put there. Yep, I interviewed him. Awesome. Okay, so you use the language I later learned. How much later did you learn about Officer Noonan's body camera? Did you run that back while you were in the room looking at the crime scene? How much later did you learn that? I'm just curious here. When you said I later learned that.
Yeah,
the type of questioning you would get.
No, I get what you're saying.
Just so I can say
the
I
officer
also later
explained, so like what later means in the other situations, if it wasn't in that moment, for instance, about the dog, I later learned from this.
So after you interviewed somebody, right? Officer Daniel?
After, right, but this person also says later from the view of the door. And so I just feel that that's just secondary from the first thing that he witnessed. I don't think
so. Officer Daniel, we're just supposed to like guess what you mean later means. What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, I'm sure when they get to court that'll be in.
They just hammer him, right?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that the video should be available for somebody to, for them to watch and see. And I get what you're saying. Was it not found at the moment? Was it or did you not see the? Because there's the other thing as well.
What I'm saying is
there's
that
a
you went into the
possibility
first bedroom and you said that the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee's. Well, you later determined that at some point, right? When did you later determine that? And then I would have to ask, when did you later learn about the officer's body cam? When did you watch that? Okay, so when did you also later notice that there appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying? Is it when you looked at all the photos, when you were looking at the photos of the crime scene? Did you notice it at the crime scene?
No, it says
no.
I
I didn't see it there. I noticed it when they took the pictures.
But he says from the view of the door. He says I later noticed it from the view of the door.
Of what?
Isn't that what he says? Let me go and find it real quick.
Oh no! On page 2, he says, as I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in a single bed in the room. Both Kaylee and Maddie were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath. When did you notice that, Officer Daniel? Was it when you saw the photos that everybody took? And then you're going to be like, well, yeah, that's what I think is coming. I think what's coming is, I noticed it when I had all the body, when I had not the body cam, well, maybe the body cam as well. But I noticed when we went through all the photos, then I noticed that there was a tan leather sheath. Woo! Just so when you notice like Noonan's, like woo, like you're this. I'm later this and I'm later that. They're gonna destroy the fuck out of this.
I mean,
I feel
maybe.
bad for Officer Payne because he's about to get his ass handed to him on the stand.
He says here it's when
Officer
reviewed from the
Payne,
video.
do you think this could have been planted? Because you didn't see it when you were there. And nor did Mr. Smith tell you that he saw it. So nobody told you about this. So you nor Mr. Smith saw this in person, did you? Well, no, I didn't. I saw it from the pictures. Okay, no more further questions, Your Honor.
No,
Okay, what just happened there?
no, I understand. The way I see it, though, is that they're not touching things, right? They're not allowed to touch anything. It may have been something that had to be pointed out to him from the view of the door, because he says from the view of the door. And
no, he does not say that. That's not true.
Yeah, he does. It says
where?
As I entered the bedroom, I could see the two.
I entered the bedroom. As I entered the bedroom.
Both Goncalves and Mogan were deceased.
Entered the bedroom. You need to repeat that.
Yeah, as I entered the bedroom.
So are you at the door or are you in the bedroom? Are you at the door, Officer Daniel, or are you in the bedroom?
It's through the door.
As I entered the bedroom, Officer Daniel.
Right, but what I'm saying is, it says, I also later noticed there appeared to be a tan leather sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. And so, well, that just means from the right side from viewed from the door. I get what that means here. No, I get it. So it's on the right side.
Does he enter the bedroom, Officer Daniel?
Right, yeah, he enters the bedroom.
So he was inside the bedroom.
Right, but this also.
So he didn't view it, Officer Daniel. He did not view it from the door.
Right, but that could mean a couple of things, though. The sheath could have been under something. It could have been under a blanket. During the tussle, it could have gotten rolled up into the blankets, and he may not have been able to have seen it. He's just saying it's on the right side.
Officer Daniel, I agree with everything that you're saying right now. My whole problem is that it's not here. And you want to know why it's not here? Because they all had body cams on. And they can't go back and they can't say things that were not visible when they did it. They can't do that. That's the problem. And I agree 100% with you. 1,000,000% with you. Because you're like, well, he's just an idiot for the way that he worded this. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's how you would think of it. Absolutely. But what I'm telling you right now think about this. If you were to write your report and have your body cam out and you're like, well, I can't say that because this is what me and Officer Smith are talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
You got to be careful.
I just don't think that it's uncommon for police officers to talk about what they see. And then, when you write on your report, you have to put what you saw and what you visit, like first person, not from a second party.
Officer Daniel, did you take notes when you walked into the house?
I would hope he did.
When you made your report here, Officer Payne, did you sit there and look at your body cam and go word for word? How did you make this report? So did you physically see a sheath? Did you physically see a sheath?
He says
he says later. He says later I noticed, which could be in pictures, Officer Payne.
Right. No, I understand
Were they in
that,
pictures?
but he doesn't say that it was in pictures.
No, but he doesn't need to.
The other one, he said it was off of the review of the body camera. So he explained from where he saw it from.
So he was giving us
the
extra
assumption
description.
was maybe the assumption is that it was that he may have had to be pointed out or.
I just want people to see because Daniel's awesome here. He's exactly answering everything you could ever imagine from a police officer standpoint. You're nailing it. Like that's what you're being like. Well, no, this is this, right? Like. Right. But how is the defense going to combat that? Because my biggest thing on this whole thing is like, how did you not see the sheath until later? I want someone to answer that because that's the only thing that's tying my client physically to being in this room, right?
Right. No,
so if you tell me
what
that
you're
you
saying.
didn't see it, that's what I have to hit on.
Right, but I think that answer could also be in the arrest report. That answer could be in a bunch of different things. This is just the probable cause affidavit, so they only have to put.
Well, you want my guy though, right? You want my guy. You want that guy.
Right. No, I get that, but you don't need to put that much detail as far as that extreme. You know, just the fact I would assume somebody would have put in here.
Well,
That they
who's gonna
found
put
it.
it in?
Oh, that they found the knife sheath.
Yeah, like who?
It should be in there.
I'm looking for it. Where? No. Why wouldn't you? Like nobody said that they. I found it. There's nowhere. That's not anywhere in here.
Yeah, no,
Like, wouldn't you be the
like I
person to
said,
be like, I
there's
found it?
like I'm not
I
disagreeing
later
with you that
noticed.
this is some. I'm not disagreeing with you that it
No.
may be a little bit lazy. There should be something about I collected the sheath. Somebody collected the sheath and turned it into evidence. The only thing that it says is that the sheath was later processed as and had K-bar USMC. But normally you would expect the department to put in there something to the effect of the chain of command or the chain of evidence where it comes. I don't know if I'm frozen or you are. It could be me. Let me know in the chat. Oh, she is. All right. Okay. So if I'm still out and going, yeah, it's me. She knocked out. All righty then. I get where she's coming from. I completely understand. I think it might be looked into a little too hard at this point. I understand it. What does later mean? There's a lot of question marks in this probable cause because that's not the only one. The one that I didn't like was when they came to Dylan's statement where it stated that she originally was somewhere where she was originally. That she stated she was originally in the second floor bedroom asleep. I didn't like the original part. I felt that meant that there was a secondary statement made or something secondary. Let me see. I'll see if I can find that for you. DM and BF both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of the King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Pernodal, who received a DoorDash order at her residence at approximately 4 a.m. The approximately part could mean that it was a little bit earlier. I know a lot of folks are trying to put that 4 a.m. Drop off was exactly when it happened. I mean, there's a possibility there that there's a difference of time. It could have been processed through DoorDash at 4 a.m., but dropped off a little bit earlier. There is that processing time where the DoorDash guy has to notify DoorDash that the items were dropped. Usually it's with a picture and then that information gets sent out. To DoorDash, they have to receive that message, confirm it, and it could have been dropped off at 3:55, 3:56. So, he could have been out of there before Brian Koberger pulled in to that neighborhood and tried to attempt to park. But let's continue to read this. It says, this is with the exception of Kernodal. She received a DoorDash order approximately 4 a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. And right here, it's where it says, DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonçalves playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. And so right here, she originally went to sleep. Stated she originally went to sleep. I don't understand why that wording is in here. So there is a lot of concerns, a lot of question marks about that. I don't disagree with those things. I think that the police department here has, I don't see the amount of pictures that they're determined, the amount of evidence that they claim to have that they've reported to the discovery as being a lot. I think that's kind of a small amount, in my opinion. Welcome back to your show.
Well, I was letting it go. No, I don't. It's more about like, so if people there for 4 hours never told you about it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. I get what you're saying. I do think.
I mean, come on, like this is the biggest piece. Like this is the piece of evidence that has this dude's DNA on it. When
Right,
did
but
you
I don't.
find it? When did you see it?
Right. No,
Because
no, no.
I
I
want to
get that
nail
part.
him.
No, I get that, and
So then why does Don
there's
Daniel say don't include it when
don't
you want to
include
give
what?
us the apartment search warrant? Why don't include him or don't include that? Don't include us testing the DNA and having the DNA. Don't include it. Why would Don Daniels from WSU ever say don't include that when giving us the search warrant? Because God forbid we may get it unlawfully.
Don't include what exactly?
What she put in the you guys saw from the search warrant
discovery?
for the the search warrant for the apartment.
Yeah, we went through it. What wasn't that? I don't.
She said don't include the DNA when you want to give us the search warrant. Don't include the DNA that we recovered.
That's
You
news
guys-
to me.
Wait, what?
I don't remember anybody saying not to include the DNA into something.
No, she said do not include it.
Right. I don't recall that information.
Wait, you're shitting me.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Okay, so Don Daniel said when you want to give this little, warrant, then you are going to accept it. Don't include what we found over there in Pennsylvania and that the dad's DNA was used to get us this. Don't include anything to do with the DNA on the sheath.
That's not included onto what in the discovery?
For them to go into the apartment.
Well, okay. So not to use the
So
DNA.
why would Don Daniels ever want to say to a lawyer,
Because
a judge,
all right,
hey,
so the reason
we want
being
you to issue this, but we're going to tell you about it, but then don't use it.
Because of it sounds like it's fruit of the poisonous tree type of situation. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but it sounds like it. And the only thing I can think of is maybe they obtain the DNA without a warrant. Like, for instance, if they saw Koberger throw the trash and discard the trash in somebody else's property, I don't know Pennsylvania's laws, but perhaps they needed to get a warrant to look into that other person's trash. And since they didn't, then that would have been an illegal search, so to speak, or an illegal pickup. Because laws and rules are different in every state. And
100%.
And so I don't know Pennsylvania's rules beyond that. But if that ends up being the case where let's just say they would have needed a warrant for the neighbor's house, right? And they didn't do that. Then they can use that evidence for anything, which is odd because
That doesn't bother you? I would say like everything that you're saying right now would mean nothing to me if, hey guys, Brian Colbert is the motherfucking man. We have him on XYZZZ, but guess what? We need him on genealogy DNA though, because we don't really have him.
Right. Wait, run that again.
Okay, so like when do you think that they had like if you're going through an investigation and you have stages that you have to meet, right? Because I keep saying this, how do you get to Brian Kohlberger? How do you get to Brian Kohlberger? And everyone's like, it's the damn White Elantra. I was like, there's 40,000 White Elantras. How do you get to him? So
no, yeah, I assume that they had to have had his name or something.
How do you get to the point that you put like agents in Pennsylvania? Like, you know how many people have White Elantras? Did you follow all of them? Did you do all that? Did you ever even call this guy? Did you ever call him? Why didn't you ever call him? Why didn't you ever talk to him? Did you ever talk to him to say, what were you doing that night? Oh, I was sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Like, what did you do?
The probable cause affidavit, what they did was they looked up, I think it was like 90 Elantras that were registered to people that could utilize the parking areas of the universities, WSU and University of Idaho. They went through those. They were able to find Kohlberger's. They matched his height, weight, and bushy eyebrows as a possibility for the description of what DM saw. And with that information, they looked up his where he's been previously stopped before. They found the citation on August, found his phone number, and then did a ping search on his phone to determine.
So
the
let me
fact that
ask
he
you a
was there
question, Daniel.
a few times.
Let me ask you a question. If you were a defense attorney, would you have a problem if that was the only person you did all of that on versus like, did you do that with every single person that came upon a white Elantra?
Right. If they fit the description of 5'10" to
So
6'2",
it was an identification that got you to that point.
to a certain extent. What I would assume is they would pull out, all right, all these other vehicles are registered to female, so those would be knocked out, and then they would probably, I'm sure if she saw his eyebrows, she probably could tell his skin color, and so then they would limit that from gender to to then race, and then narrow that down between height and said, all right, this person's fairly tall. She said it was taller than her, about 5'10". So anybody shorter than her would be knocked out. So that'll just be the process of elimination. You get that handful, then I would assume that they probably would have tried to locate the rest to see if they can do the same thing.
So process of elimination, right?
Right. And it doesn't mean even that doesn't mean that it's him though. Like that just means that you have a lead, and that's why they probably couldn't arrest him until they got the evidence of the DNA on the sheet. They probably were aware of that well on into this case about the DNA and the sheath, and I'm assuming that there's more than this.
But how much more could there be? Like I'm all for that. So what?
I'm assuming that. Oh man, I mean, I would hope that there's more, because if there's not, this could there's possibilities of a juror not finding it, finding reasonable doubt in this case if this is all they have. Because they don't really have much now, unless one of those
So
hairs.
no motive, just like this dude was a perv and he was about to become a serial killer, right?
Right. Well,
but let me ask you a question though. But it was a targeted attack. So this serial killer just happened to target, and it was an isolated targeted attack. Isolated means just isolated. Isolated, that means.
Do you remember what part of the day that information came out that it was targeted? I'm going to pull that out
for you, actually. So that was actually on the Moscow Police Department on November 13th says the Moscow Police Department does not believe there is an ongoing community risk based on information gathered during the preliminary investigation. Then they said, we determined on November 15th, we determined early in the investigation that we do not believe there is an ongoing threat for the community members. Evidence indicated that this was a targeted attack. Then they say the words "an isolated." Then they say on November 15th, they go even further. On November 15th, they say, based on preliminary information, we are going to update us again and say investigators believe that this is an edged weapon such as a knife was used. Also, based on information from the preliminary investigation, investigators believe that this was an isolated, targeted attack.
Right.
Let me just put it in very, very, because people are like, Lana, why do you print everything off? Well, because it matters. I didn't write this myself. Let me just show you guys here. So layout, here you go. November 15th, 2022, right there. Also based on information from the preliminary investigation, boom. That's why. So isolated, targeted is separate. But when you want to say isolated, targeted attack, dude, come on now. It's just, that's not what it is. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah, no, that just leads me to believe that they had a lot more information. It just wasn't, they had to prove it.
Okay, so then I ask you again, what did they have?
My guess, my assumption is, I think somebody gave him his name.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was waiting for it.
right. Yeah. I mean, that's my assumption is that
You
somebody
can't get
died
to
him
Brian
out.
Kohlberger without Brian Kohlberger's name being said. I've went through every
Right.
scenario and it's impossible based on what they did. Because you would have to physically go through all of these people. And when you if you did what you did for Brian Kohlberger for all these other people, you still wouldn't beat a Brian Kohlberger.
Right. Yeah. I've assumed or felt that this was a possibility, especially after the airmail article where it said that, Dylan at least makes the reader believe that Dylan changed her story from sleeping to she heard some things and opened the door and saw some things.
I've talked to him numerous times.
Did
He's actually dropping his next part 2 comes out tomorrow.
Nice. I'm looking forward to reading that.
Yeah, he'll be on the channel.
Nice.
I want to know where he got a couple of different things from, because I believe that he talked to personnel.
Oh, I'm sure he had to. And so, my thing is, was maybe not so much the story change, because I think that's the narrative that the police are going to go with, is that it didn't change, but
this is about to rock everybody's box. This is not what they think it is. And I will say it here first, because people ask me all the time, what are you, Lana, your theory? My theory is that if you think 4 college kids just died on November 13th for no reason, you're fucking wrong. That's my theory, is that you're wrong. That's my theory. So this wasn't isolated target attack. Then think about what that means. How does Brian Kohlberger, you think he's some weirdo psycho, he's gonna become some serial killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, he would have never gotten caught. That's my take on it. He would have never gotten caught.
No, I just because he got caught doesn't mean that he wasn't going to. If I think
42 FBI agents on a case, that's unheard of. In the universe, that's unheard of.
Well, they probably were aware that
42.
I think no. What I think happened is, I think all this isolated stuff may have been just to calm down the people.
So you're gonna lie to
they lied.
Stick around and get chopped up.
They lied a crap ton of times.
So
yeah.
Wow.
I think they were able to
then I would never live in that town, and I would leave, and I would never pay
You should have seen. There's a
university.
lot of cases that are interesting things that come out of that town. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens there that I've found.
Remember, a lot of it has to do with
Who's
money.
sending their kids to the school? I
Money
I have
and
a son. I
budget.
would never send my kid there.
So I think what helped keep all of that big amount of FBI agents there is also the governor gave over $100,000 of state funds.
Wait. No. That was after. Let me tell you when that came in. Hold on.
To keep them on the case. I don't know. I thought it was 100,000, but
No, he gave 100 million. No, he gave 1 million. No, he gave.
Yeah, I was
gonna
say I thought it was $1 million.
He gave $1 million, but let me tell you when that happened. So I printed off every single one of these, and when he gave that $1 million, he did not give that $1 million until. Hold on. I think off the top of my head, I'm gonna roll with. God, I want to say December. Hold on, I have all these things.
I want to say it was probably early December.
For some reason, I want to say December 3rd. I don't know why I want to say December 3rd, but hold on.
Now, the reason I think they probably also could have brought him in was the nature and the gravity of the crime based on the experience from the police department.
What? You can bring in a couple, but you're not bringing a damn task force.
I mean, it depends. If there's the possibility. There's a possibility there.
Let's get
You
married.
look at, there's a possibility though that
I could just tell you I'm going to go out tonight, honey. I'll be back later. Don't worry about it.
there's a lot of there's a possibility that how can I say this?
I got it. Here we go.
Just make sure
November
you share your
25th.
location, okay?
the same day, November 25th, the same day that they gave the White Elantra hint to WSU's campus is the same day they got $1 million. So on November 25th, Governor Brad gave $1 million. And it was the same day that the FBI first started their link and they got 260 uploaded images. Brad gave a $1 million government, the governor gave him $1 million. That was the first time that we heard that it went from 103 pieces of evidence to 113 pieces of evidence. Everything happened on November 25th that matters in this case, which is the 10 new pieces of tested evidence allegedly. It is when WSU and other LE around Idaho were told about the White Elantra. They didn't give a year. $1 million was given. Everything on November 25th are those things. The FBI link. Brad gives $1 million. We went from having 103 pieces of evidence on November 23rd, and now there's 113, which means there's 10 new pieces of evidence. They updated the time frame of when Maddie and Kaylee came home to 156 instead of 145. WSU and law enforcement were told about the White Elantra, and that's what happened on November 25th. So that's a big day.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm not seeing. So they brought in 40. The possibility there may have been just because they thought maybe this was somebody who could have been a serial killer, maybe somebody who could have other victims in other places, and it also could be to search the areas. I mean, the guy who took off and was pinged at a bunch of different spots.
I give you lots of credit. I would never believe any of this shit.
I'm just giving plausible reasons. Why do you think they brought in 40?
They were already there. They didn't bring in anybody. They already had a task force.
So you think they were watching Brian or somebody?
No, not Brian. They were watching that university. They were watching the other university. Shit was going on. Trafficking.
Right.
Like drugs. Like, do you know how many overdoses are happening in that area?
No.
But did it say where they pulled the field officers from?
Mm-hmm. It was a task force. It was West Virginia, Utah. You guys, listen to what I'm saying. John Benet Ramsey, FBI, 2 people. West Memphis, 3 FBI agents. Idaho4, 60, 48. Then went to 60. Like, come on. What? Off the rip, 48 FBI agents are on this case. Then you have the Idaho State Police, 40 agents. You're already over 100. You're not even talking about your own department.
Why would they have that many just for drugs for two universities that aren't?
It's not about drugs. Who says it's about drugs? I thought this was about 4 college kids getting murdered. Now you said drugs.
No. I asked, well, why would they have been there? And you said they were already there.
I said they were already there. Because you have 2 very close borders.
Right.
So the FBI would be there because it's borders, is my opinion.
It's going back and forth.
Yeah, like you have borders that you're dealing with.
No, I understand that.
So, but why wouldn't it just be like the local FBI of like Washington or Idaho? Like you're pulling people from all over the country. That's forming a task force. That's not like that's like an undercover. Like that's like. No,
yeah, you're right. It's a lot of people.
To do what? I thought this was an isolated incident. Like you have to just keep going back to what you said it was. Isolated, targeted incident. Oh, but we need 100 motherfuckers on this. For what?
Right.
I just think that you really have to consider the facts of
I'm just trying to like I don't get it. Yeah, That's a lot of people. That definitely is. I'm not sure what. Maybe the come through tips. Maybe tips were coming in through like crazy, and
If there wasn't, I mean, we have the sheets right here. I mean, that's what I did. I went and printed off every single thing every single day, and I tracked it because these idiots were just giving it out. They were giving out the information. So they were like,
Right.
"Hey, we had X amount of tips come in this day. We had X amount of tips come in that day."
right. Yeah. No, I
So
saw
I
that.
started tracking that. But let me tell you what I did that I think is the most like, woo, what's going on here? Is why would you tell the world? I need all of your guys' help because we don't know who this is. But I'm going to keep it at 2011 and 2013. That's the white launch that we're looking for. Okay. But they're telling all the parents, we are trying to get we're not just trying to arrest somebody, we're trying to prosecute somebody, right?
Right.
So if I'm telling the parents I need to be able to prosecute, right? I can maybe like shade off on what I want to tell the public, but you want tips on a 2011, 2013 Elantra knowingly that that's not the year. Those aren't even the years that you need because when did your FBI agent decided he was going to change his report and go from, it wasn't just a 2011 to a 2013. It was a 2011 to a possibly 2016.
Right.
You never changed it with the public, which means you came right out the gate with it on December 7th, but yet you knew about it on November 29th. You're going to have a hard time, if I was on the jury, convincing me why the hell you did all of that. You identified 2 different vehicles, and I can prove it in the PCA. And if anybody is good at their job, it's a defense attorney, which I know that Ann Taylor is, she's going to be able to take that FBI agent, have them sit in the chair and be like, on this date, you looked at this surveillance, right? And this is how you said 2011, 2013. And they're going to say, yeah. And then you looked at this surveillance a week later and you said it was 2014 and 2016, which was 16 miles away, correct? And they're going to say, yeah. So how do you bridge the gap? How do you determine that and that same vehicle? Because you just identified 2 different vehicles. So are we looking for 2 different vehicles?
I
And
think
you're
by
not
then
going to be
she'll
able
have
to.
the privilege
You're not
to
going to be
their
able to
records
overcome that.
to show that they already had that internal information.
You're not going to be able to overcome the fact that an FBI agent identified 2 different vehicles when they said it was a 2011, 2013 on Idaho's campus, and then you're not going to be able to say that same vehicle. It's in the wording. It says it.
It just because it
Yeah,
was a different year, it's still a white Elantra.
Yeah, they
You're
say
looking
that,
for.
but the difference between, they're the same generation. The 2015, 2016, I think the 14 also had what's called a facelift. We had looked this up, and they're very similar cars. I agree with you. I had came out and said that, when did they figure it out that it was a different unit? Was that after the fact that they arrested this guy, or they spotted him or thought
No,
about
I
him?
figured it out. I could tell
But
you when they say it in
but
the. They say
yeah,
in the
no,
PCA.
they say in the PCA they were on to Koberger before they put it out there. Why they put
No,
it out
they
there?
don't say that part of it. They say based off of the footage that they saw. They say off
Right,
of the
but
footage.
I'm
They-
saying that they were on to Koberger by that point, just because they had already found his vehicle. They'd already did the
it's
search
before
warrant.
that. No, they use the footage. They say that the King neighborhood footage, that's
Right,
your
no, I know that.
2011, 2013. But your 2014 to 2016 footage is your WSU footage. You get what I'm saying?
No,
You're
I get
using
that.
2 different footages. But you're trying to say that, and then what the cops want us to believe. So you got an FBI agent that's saying all he's being handed is here, look at this footage. What year is this?
Mhm.
And then they have to say, okay, well, what footage is it? Well, that's the stuff from King. Now we have this stuff over here, and this is from WSU. What type of Elantra is this? And the same FBI agent, because they say it, we gave the same footage.
Right, to the
This
same
FBI
person.
agent, yeah, and this was the ones that was from WSU from 2:44 in the morning to 2:53 in the morning, and he said it was 2014 to 16. But that's the vehicle that they are pegging to travel to do the homicides.
Right,
But
no, I
when you
understand.
get,
what
but
you're
when you get over to Idaho, their cameras are shit, and now it's a 2011, 2013.
Right.
You're going to be able to peg that FBI agent to saying at one point or another, you pegged 2 different vehicles, right? And right when you have him saying yes, you say, no more further questions. You said that you just identified 2 different vehicles on 2 different campuses, and now you want us to believe that those are how are you bridging this? Where is this coming together?
Right.
And
I
only
agree.
because of the footage that you're using. It's just because of the footage. If you were to tell me that you looked at the King footage again, I looked at the King footage and I said to myself, thank you there,
What
RJ
if-
Banfield. Appreciate that. I'll do some
What if
shots
the
for you.
footage that they're going through ain't the one that they showed to us? It's the one that they have.
They tell us in the PCA, but you have to pay attention.
Right. No, it's in there. I understand what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? So you're taking
Right. No, I get it. And I've also pointed out that the direction of travel to the house is in the opposite direction.
fuck all that. I don't even give a shit about travel. I'm talking about you're labeling the car that they are saying suspect vehicle number 1. That's what you're labeling it. Right?
Right.
You labeled it in Idaho as a 2011, 2013. Did you not, Officer Smith? And then he has to say yes. What made you change your mind that it was no longer, and they're going to have to take a diagram and point out where he saw XYZ on that footage that he originally said on the 2011 to 2013. You cannot use the footage from WSU to change your mind. You changed my mind on the Idaho footage. What did you see to change your mind, Officer Smith? And I'm just saying Officer Smith just because.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
Officer Jones.
No, I completely understand what you're saying.
What's your,
I
how do you get to
understand
that
exactly
point?
what you're saying. And what I'm saying to add to your point is the direction of travel. It doesn't line up with him coming from Pullman. So somebody can say you have this vehicle that you're describing as a 2011
travel
person.
though. We're talking about a video. You are the FBI.
No, I get that. I get that. I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is it adds to your argument. It doesn't take away from it. It adds to your argument that the vehicle that they saw that they
I want to discredit, but that's not
assumed-
my argument. My argument is to discredit their expert witness. We need to, if you are the defense, you have to take the credibility of the expert witness and boop.
Right. No, I completely understand. And what the defense is supposed
And I
to
think
do
that
is
the FBI agent isn't going to be like, I'm not the one. This is what's going to come out. I didn't say that he drove from that point to this point. All I did was, Miss Oriani, I said that this car was this. I didn't say that he drove from there to there. You asked me to identify this vehicle. And I'm going to say, absolutely. So Officer Smith, in Idaho, you identified it as a 2011 to 2013. Is that correct? And he's going to say, absolutely. That's what I said. And then we're going to have him
all
say,
the prosecutor has to say is,
WSU, did you identify that to be a 2014 to 2016? And he's going to
not
say,
a.
yes, I did. And I'm going to say, well, how was that car the one that got to that car? Did it just take a model and just revamp itself over in 15 minutes? And he's going to be like, no, they didn't ask me if I thought that car was that car. They asked me to identify something, and they're going to get their asses handed to them. And then we're going to be like, what the fuck are we at now? And I'm saying, for people that don't realize this, you guys are in fucking sane. That's all I'm saying. I want everybody involved. All of you guys that were involved in this, your asses are grass because I'm on this case. I'm paying attention. And I'm telling you.
No, I'm not saying that it's not true.
I don't care if you had 5 Elantras. I'm getting all of you. Anybody that was involved in this. WSU, Pullman, Idaho, all the parents. I am for your kids. We want justice because I would never want this for my child. Or I would never want this to happen to where my child went to school because how could anybody go to sleep over there at night?
Right.
And Olivia Gung, she was right. She said leave. She said leave. He killed all these people. Why wouldn't he kill you? Or if it was multiple people, why won't they kill you? Mm-hmm. Leave. What are you guys talking about right now? Like you have an FBI agent that looked at different footages and he told you what, yeah, that's that and that's this. And guess what? They got fancy with a PCA and they're going to twist it up. But I'm telling you, if you are any type of an attorney and if you have any type of a investigative team, you will destroy the fuck out of this. And if you can't, then please hire the fuck me and I will show you how to. That's what I feel. And I would hire you because I'd be like, yeah, let's go at it like this, because this is where you get, this is where the mustard come from. This is where, did Brian Kohlberger do this? I don't give a shit if Brian Kohlberger does not. I want everybody involved.
Right.
Because right now what this is telling me is that you patty cake this together and then we're going to talk about a sheath. What better have so much blood on it? Because if it doesn't have any blood on it, y'all are nuts.
Yeah.
This better have blood. And if that sheath doesn't have blood, you're going to have another OJ case.
I'm sure it has blood, given the proximity of the bodies that it was, found at or described to have been at. Whether or not it has anybody else's blood other than the victims would be the question.
So you're saying, what if I handed you a sheath and I said, hey, that's the sheath that was there and it didn't have any blood on it? What would you say?
I would doubt that was the sheath that was there.
Perfect. Love it. It should be soaked, right?
I mean, there should be something on there, especially if it was laying next to the bodies. There should be something based on the description of what was happening. You have blood splatter, the wounds being made through somebody that's alive initially at one point. And so pumping, it should be out there. And you had a super chat from Shields OU 812.
Sorry, I was trying to get,
no,
Scott was trying to come in.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't get in. I can't get in. Where was it up there? Was it, I want to hit them.
Yeah, they asked me if I'm a Steelers fan.
You guys, my biggest thing on all of this is that, come on, hopefully a lot of us are parents. And I'm going to get, is that it right there? Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's Shields 02, OU 812.
Oh, is he going to ask about the damn Steelers?
Yeah.
Go Bengals. Go Browns.
No.
Oh, wait, I think I saw one. Go. Wait, here we go. There you go.
There it is. Yes, I'm on State of the Steelers and Behind the Steel Curtain.
I think this is way deeper than we could ever imagine, because if it wasn't, I think that he probably would have made a play deal, and it just, you guys, when it looks like shit and it smells like shit, it is shit, period. This is shit. And I'm almost deciding whether or not I want to continue on even talking about this case, because I think it's that fucking deep, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, I'm getting to the point that it is that deep that I don't even know if I want to touch it anymore, if that makes any sense.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
I want the truth. I just, and if I was a parent, no, I don't want you to give me no name and no, what happened here? What do you mean? Like, what? They're just hoping that someone just slides, and he got a really good defense attorney that probably not going to slide. And I think that you guys, America shouldn't want this to slide. You guys should want to know what happened here, because I'm telling you, what they are telling you is not the truth. I'm telling you that right now.
It's possible. I mean, there's definitely some questions, and you bring up some valid points there as far as when they discovered it. That was my initial, clue when I saw it, when they said they thought it was a 2013, and then later, identified it as a possible 2014 to 16. I thought that was odd or funny, and I had stated I wonder when it was that they discovered this, because it is to make it a point to put it in there. Tells me that it wasn't at the same time. And so you're absolutely right when it comes to that aspect.
He didn't see it on his first swipe through. So when did he see it?
Right.
And then you're the boy that walked me through, and you didn't tell me about it. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, neither of our body cams are going to say that. So then when am I going to say to the world, when I have to get on the stand to say, well, I noticed it when I was, looking at the 4,000 photos that they took, then I saw it and I was like, whoa, what is that?
No, I get what you're saying. I would like the probable cause affidavit to be more specific as for when.
Well,
it was
but he
picked
put
up
in
and
parentheses
tagged.
when he saw it on Officer Noonan's body cam about the dog. Why didn't he put in parentheses on when he later realized about the sheath?
Right. That's why I felt that it was just the panning motion that he's talking about one and then the other, and just not the right wording on it. But that one it's a question mark. I mean, I think that once everything comes out, that it's not going to. I'm hoping it's not so many question marks. I hope a lot of these blanks are filled in, so to speak.
Can I ask you this? How pressured would you be if somebody? Have you ever seen Runaway Jury?
I have not.
What?
No, I haven't. I'm sorry.
Shut up. You've never seen Runaway Jury with like the best actors ever?
No, I might need to check it out.
Wait, I don't believe you.
No, I honestly never seen it.
Okay, if you made me listen to our girl Kim, then I want you to listen to this right here. Who I love, by the way. Deal? You're gonna watch it because I don't care about being monetized. I want you to see this. This is about the truth. All right, here we go.
Holding her hand at the clinic, not the ministry.
Yes. 30 years in the trenches have taught me this. Everybody has a secret they don't want you to find. Find something on every one of them. What do we got, people?
Ricky Coleman, 36 years of age. Her husband's a Baptist minister. She had an abortion 2 years ago. And the guy holding her hand at the clinic, not the ministry.
Yes. Trials are too important to be left up to juries.
The defense has retained Rankin Fitch as their lead jury consultant.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's find 11 more jurors just like her. Who's next?
Nicholas Easter.
Mr. Easter, that's the second time you've looked at your watch. Are we keeping you from something?
I think if you knew my situation, you might.
Situation?
We accept this juror. Go ahead and take it.
No objections, Your Honor. Enter Mr. Nicholas Easter as a juror.
This whole thing is a disaster. They give you $16 a day. That's some cash money, baby. Think about that for a second.
$20 million ought to be enough to secure a jury.
They're using video surveillance, wiretaps, finding out things about jurors their husbands and their wives don't even know.
This might be messing with my case, and the rules are law. That's what I was hired to do. Fella.
Hello, Randy.
I'd like to know who I'm speaking with.
You can call me Marley.
Payphone, 15 miles away.
The fact is, the jury's mine, and I can push it either way for a price.
How did he sound?
Rich.
This girl is an amateur. I want her photo and her real name by tonight. That's just gonna pie this verdict.
It's too close. We need more jurors.
Everybody's got a button. We just gotta find out where and push.
Nick Easter is spinning this jury.
I know you're playing both sides.
What's your price?
10 million.
Big number. I was under the impression we had already purchased a verdict.
Do we have a deal or don't we?
Make damn sure you don't underestimate me. Call for help.
Somebody got to that girl.
It's our job to protect them.
Well, there's only so much I can do, all right? I can't protect you. I want you to find her. I want you to contain her. You're losing me my jury. You have destroyed all those people's lives.
Anyone can be gotten to. You have them.
We don't have anything yet.
That's interesting. I've never seen that movie. I've never seen the trailer either.
I've seen it a long time ago.
And I can't hear you. You're muted.
Back in the day.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. It looks interesting. I think I'm gonna watch it. Don't spoil it. I think I am gonna watch it.
You need to. It's one of my faves.
Yeah.
Because it's about the criminal justice system, and it's like kind of like a basketball game or a football game. Why buy NFL players when you can buy the refs?
Right.
Make sense? Don't buy the defense or the prosecution. Buy the jury. Don't buy the NFL player or the NBA player. You need the ref who's going to holding 10-yard penalty, first down. Okay, wow. Like that changes every game. Your ref changes every game. Your jury is your ref. That's what this is about. So, but if you want to spend some money, that's where you spend your money. You'd buy the jury, and that's what I think happens is people buy juries. I think that's a great movie. Why would I fuck around with the defense or the prosecution?
Right.
You just got to buy one jury to say, no, I'm not going to budge. Like, they just paid me $1 million. I'm going to say, put right here, no, he didn't do it. No. Or he did it. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to buy your jury.
Right. I was going to recommend a movie, but Jesse Johnson says it here.
Oh, did somebody?
Mr. Brooks. Have you seen that one?
Oh, is that with Kevin Costner?
Kevin Costner? Yeah.
He's a fine piece of, yeah. I love him in Tin Cup. He's a great golfer.
Yeah. Yeah, but Mr. Brooks, I saw that movie a long time ago, and I was telling my boy Jaime, I was like, man, this guy this story kind of reminds me a little bit of this situation to a certain extent. And so, yeah, check that one out. It's a good movie. But I'm going to watch this one, Runaway Jury.
I've seen it only because I'm a Kevin Costner fan.
Oh.
I'm a huge, like Tin Cup. I mean, everything Kevin Costner. What was one of my other ones that he did that I was just like, For the Love of the Game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You guys, I think this is just really deep. And honestly, right now I'm deciding on whether or not I want to still cover it because it's going to a place that if they don't settle
right
in some type of capacity, whether they do a plea deal or whatever, it's awful. It's going to be an awful thing. And it's awful.
No, I agree.
It's not, but somebody just didn't walk into that house and kill 4 kids, and that's just not what happened. I will tell you that right now. I don't believe that is for a second what happens. And
man, it's possible. I mean, BTK, I think his first were 4, and he was 28. I find a lot. See, the one thing about Brian that I find intriguing that could be a possibility is the connection to the different types of serial killers that are out there. 28, 4 people, BTK, going for, trying to be a police officer. That's what Golden State Killer. We're starting in Washington. That's Ted Bundy. Hitting a sorority house, Ted Bundy. Like, there's a lot of similarities there from a lot of different places.
Did they have 42 FBI agents there?
No, they didn't.
Was he caught right away?
I thought he was, and then he escaped. And then, he got caught eventually because of a cast or something. Jaime would be the one to ask. He's our serial killer. No, I get it. But what I'm saying is he studied these guys, and there was a lot of similarities.
So he studied them, right?
Right.
So you think so you think that Brian Kohlberger drove up there that night after studying them for so long and was like, I've never seen that Range Rover. This is the night.
Well, I think so. I think it had more to do with the plan. If it was Brian.
Wait, no. Wait a second. I'm not going to let people pass on that. When you're talking about somebody that has been watching this house, you see a vehicle you've never seen there before. Where's the car that Kaylee does drive? So anybody that says that Kaylee was the target, you're all on crack, in my opinion, because
I don't know who's the target there, but what I'm assuming is
wasn't there.
Right. I thought it was.
So that if you were targeting her, how would you know that that's her vehicle?
The new vehicle?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but here's my thing. And here's why I think it had to be an opportunity situation. Like, there's a lot of risk involved. You have the multiple vehicles there. You have Ethan there. You have the hit and run outside of his house, right? You have the fact that this is a parents' weekend in Pullman, and you also have that that this is the last home game for the Vandals. So there's probably a heightened police force or police presence that are out there. You might think that, hey, there's a possibility that people are going to be arrested for being drunk and all this other stuff, that the police might be tied up in processing. So that might be the thought there. Now, you wonder, why would he do it on this weekend? With all that going on, what's the point? Well, that week he had school. He did it the following week, and I think they were all for Thanksgiving. So I think he wanted to be seen. He wanted to be seen by his students, wanted to make sure that they saw him. So he had school that week.
He had
a doctor's appointment. He had a doctor's appointment and I think a haircut appointment that he all kept. And so my opinion is if he waits a week, that's when you're going into Thanksgiving break. There's a possibility he couldn't get the doctor's appointment. Then he wouldn't get the people seeing him at school. He wouldn't get a lot of those things. And then people were leaving. And so, in my opinion, the reason why he did it throughout all that risk was because of that right there. He couldn't wait another weekend. A lot of those things would have failed.
So it was that planned out in terms of Brian Kohlberger that he left the sheath?
I wouldn't say the sheath being left there was planned, but I think that the fact when you look at his major and you look at the criminology and the psychology factor of what he was studying, and that also indicates what a criminal would eventually or what typically does, right? So there'd be a change in behavior, a change in schedule. They would try to put themselves in the case in some form or fashion. That's why I don't believe in all this Papa Roger stuff and inside looking, because this guy knows what the red flags are when it comes to being caught, right? And so he's doing all the other things. He's maintaining his doctor's appointments. He's going to work. He's having his hair appointment. He's being where he can be seen. He's extra talkative so that way people can remember him and that they say that they saw him. One thing that nobody says about him is that he's cut up, scratched, or bruised after the altercation. So he's going to use that for his defense. Maybe that's because he planned to not have any scratches. Now, how does he do that? I have no idea. Maybe he did have some kind of thick layer of clothing that scratches and stuff didn't go through. I don't know. But to me, what it looks like for me is in order for him to take all those risks was the opportunity factor in when it comes to the elements of the crime. It had to have been done that weekend. That's why it didn't matter who was there. It didn't matter. The vehicles weren't different or the same. For his plan to work, it had to be that weekend.
So then he was part organized and part disorganized?
Well, I think there's
what you explained to me is a part organized killer, but then a completely disorganized killer.
No, what I think you have the planning aspect of it. You have everything that you're going to do, but in the moment, there's 100% chaos. And there's the part that you can't plan for, you know? And so all of that I had stated was leading up to the time of the incident. Now, once the incident happened and you're in that moment, that's where things are real and you can't predict those things. I mean, he can try and think that he's going to, but my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. And so, especially if things didn't go as planned, maybe somebody woke up ahead of time or whatever the case may be, that could have thrown him off to the point where he did forget the sheath. I don't think he was accustomed to it. Maybe that's why he left it, because he wasn't accustomed to having it on his belt.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You said he went there to kill, right?
Right, I believe so.
Okay, so then why did he make he made four loops?
Because he's trying to get confidence. You know, I would have expected.
So he was looping to get confidence. I'm just asking.
The confidence. So there's a possibility that the lights were on or a light was on at that time, something to that nature. But yeah, I think he was driving around until he built enough confidence to stop and do the deed. That's exactly what I think it was. Now that confidence could have been increased once a light went out, once the DoorDash guy left, something to that nature.
So you think he knew the DoorDash?
No, I don't know if he knew the DoorDash, but he may have seen him if he was driving around throughout that time.
Well, if the DoorDash was there at 4 and he didn't get there till 4:04, how would he know the DoorDash was there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just assuming that he was driving around in the neighborhood, that he may have been close and saw the vehicle.
So you think that he planned to go there and murder people, right? And was
I think that was the plan.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get on every camera possible.
Well, I don't think. I'm not sure if I don't think he took that into consideration.
So then, like, how do you not? If you're a criminology student, like, okay, so that's what I'm trying to understand. Like, if somebody went there to commit the perfect crime, I think that what I'm trying to help the situation is throw the wrench in there, which would be the Range Rover, and nobody is taking that as a I just hope that the prosecution takes that as a lifeline, because that's going to be your wrench, because that Range Rover was never seen. It's the first time ever on any like campus there, on any driveway. That's your way to explain why Brian Kohlberger would have looped. And if they don't take that and run with it, then they're a bunch of fucking idiots, in my opinion.
I mean, that's possible. I mean, that would also lead up to the
Like, I would use that to my
the
advantage.
confidence. You know, if he pulls in there, sees
Confidence?
a
No, you're
vehicle-
just trying to
yeah.
understand who the hell's there, because
Well,
when's the
that's
last time that
building
Jack stayed
confidence.
there? Like, you weren't like.
Right. No, I agree 100%. But that builds into the confidence aspect. Is like, all right, there's another vehicle there. Let me drive around to figure out who this is or what that is. Now, once he was confident enough that that wasn't a big enough threat to stop him.
So,
that's
so a
when he
new
answered.
vehicle being there, which could have been a parent, which could have been, you don't even know if that vehicle has 4 dudes in it. You don't even know if that vehicle has 4 dudes in it.
Mhm.
Think about that. That's an
No,
unknown.
No, I agree. But
We want to talk about, like, if I pull up and
that's
I'm like,
but then
where's
that leads
Kaylee's-
to the
where's
risk. Why
Kaylee's
would
RAV4?
he do it that night? I mean, it builds up to the risk. Then why would he do it that night? And then it just kind of leads to my point that I think he felt he had no choice. And then the other thing is,
He had no choice. Why? Why didn't he do it a different day?
because I think he wanted to commit the perfect crime, and I think that is probably an issue. There's no such thing as perfect, and so, you know, he had this planned out.
Even
I
if he
think
left
it-
this sheath, how wouldn't that be perfect? Like, you have unknown male DNA. How is it not perfect?
I mean, if he didn't leave the sheet there, all they would have is just video of somebody driving a vehicle. They'd have no DNA evidence. They'd have the description of the person.
Wait, they'd have the bushy eyebrows, all right?
Right. They would have that description of, you know, the very unreliable description. And they wouldn't have arrested him. There still would
Okay,
have been an ongoing
so think about this.
investigation.
Think about what you just said right there. You said, think about if they don't have the DNA. Dawn Daniel said, throw out the DNA. What do they have? And they still got to search for it for his apartment.
Right. And I think what they used in that aspect was the phone pings to get the
But
search
how
warrant.
did they get to that point of Brian Kohlberger? Like, that's just, everything relies on WSU. And until people realize that, WSU, either give them the credit they deserve if they solve this case. But if Moscow wants to milk their titties, I'm going to laugh. That's all.
Right.
And until next time, but because Moscow did not solve this, it was WSU. If you really want to be like technical, Moscow
Right, and-
didn't solve it. Like, that's just not what's happening.
And that's
No.
not possible.
It's so sad. It's so sad that, how do you not see that? But you know, it is what it is. Scott says, I'm still having technical difficulties over here in the farmhouse. I'm sorry, partner. I owe you big time. So, and I said,
Gotcha.
hey, are you okay? So he was at his sister's. They had a very serious scare with the C word.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, so I don't, just keep them in your prayers, but that's what's going on.
For sure.
Because he said, let me just come on later, and I told him that I would go to 11 just to make, give him that time. But Daniel, I think the world of you. Like,
I appreciate
you at least can have a conversation of like, hey, well, this is how I would answer that, or this is what I would think, and this is what should have happened, and this is what from like law enforcement. I want everybody involved, and for me, you want to hang this on Brian Kohlberger. I just hope that you have it all. I hope that anybody else is also included, because if I was a parent, I would just want it all. I wouldn't want somebody that, if somebody opened up that door for that person to come through my house to do that, if you open up that door for him, I want to know why.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. If there's evidence out there that indicates that, then yeah. In this situation, I think there's a possibility that happened. I mean, you're looking at, not the best witness description or account, or most plausible account based on what is on the PCA. there's a lot of question marks there. There's a lot of people that knew about this situation possibly prior to the police. And
Take
so,
Moscow out of it. Take everybody out of it. Who really solved this case? If WSU doesn't turn over the footage for the FBI agent to look at, if WSU doesn't find this miraculous car that then they
right.
allegedly turned into the tip line versus law enforcement who asked you about it. I mean, WSU has their stamp all over this. So
Right.
I just hope that there's a lot of blowing going on for WSU campus police, because if Brian Kohlberger is the person, they're the ones that got him. Like in a 360. Nobody else did.
100%. I do agree with you on that. I think that WSU's involvement in this case definitely helped it out.
And
in
if
finding him.
not, then WSU handed you over what? It's either one way or the other, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, and I get what you're saying. I don't know if there's
Like,
a
they're handing you over
conspiracy.
2014 and 2016 Elantra that.
Right. But I would look at that if I was an officer, if I was investigating this. I would look at not just Elantras, I'd look at Corollas that are similar. I'd look at Priuses. I would look at a bunch of different vehicles that match the description. It wouldn't just be that, because
they're going to have a heyday in fucking court.
Security footage isn't like high quality most of the time. And
well, Daniel, wouldn't you at least have the plate? If this was such high like camera
right.
footage,
If
you
they
would
don't
have
have
a
the plate.
Like,
No,
we're
I get
talking
that.
about this is a blob.
No, I get that. And you can't see the plate. You can't. The other thing is too that his plate was registered under Pennsylvania, so the plate would look different. Even the colors would look different. So you would assume that they would be able to say, "Hey, this is a blue and yellow plate versus a red and blue plate." Something to that nature or effect. I agree with you on that aspect.
I believe it. Like I believe in that you guys were doing the policing aspect to get to that point. And then they lost me on the fact that they had the name Brian Kohlberger on November 29th, and that you then came to the public to try to get something on December 7th. And if that doesn't rest uneasily with the rest of America, like, I don't even know what to tell you guys, because they don't need us. They already had it. Like, they're only doing it to clog the line, and you should wonder why.
No, I agree. I brought that point up exactly as well. I said,
like,
I don't understand why they would do that. That's just going to create more tips and more information that's not going to allow maybe possible.
But they're only doing it for the 2011 to 2013. It wasn't even like we're taking tips from 2011 to 2016. You guys are taking tips that do not matter.
Right.
What the fuck is going on here? And
No,
I think that, oh God, like, that's just, if that does not bug you as a human being to know that I live in that area and they wanted me to, like, okay, if I was walking to the grocery store, oh God, like you said, I see a Corolla or I see this, like, you have me worried over here, but then you're telling me not to worry, but you want my help to find this, but then I should be fine because this was an isolated, targeted, get fucked. That's how I feel. If I was a resident of Idaho, if I wasn't a resident of Idaho, like I am not, I'm over here like, what the hell's going on over there? What's up with y'all? Like, I feel bad for y'all.
I agree 100%. There's something wrong. And if it falls back on the fraternities and sororities and things of that nature, I think it may. I mean, you have information that's not being told to the police, and possibly, definitely friends were being told first that, because the PCA says it, that friends were summoned to the house before the police were called. That's a problem. That's a problem when that's happening. And, it's not the first time that something like that has happened where police were waited hours before they were called. In fact, Sam Martinez in 2019 had been passed in a fraternity house for 4 hours before the police called there in University.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like,
and so there's a problem there in this place.
100%.
And it needs to be looked at. Like, there's so much. I mean, were you aware that the University of Idaho had a teacher shoot one of the students he was having an affair with in 2011, and that the student went to the university, and the university told about some of his claims that he wanted to have student orgies and then to shoot some of the classmates. And the University of Idaho told the student they can't do anything about it due to confidentiality reasons, that they would need to go to the police department, and allowed him to stay there.
Yeah. That was what was it like? What was her name? It was a white girl and like a Hispanic male teacher, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a live about that only because it was that like it started like coming back up. Like it was just about like how the university handles things, and whether this is, I don't care, Greek life, any life, if that was your kid, wouldn't you want to know what happened? And that's all I have to say is if that was my kid, I would want to know everything. And especially if I believe that my kid wasn't involved in this type of stuff and they didn't do this type of stuff. But I would also hope I give back to the community, and I would just want this for anybody. Yeah.
For sure. 100%.
Like I wouldn't want this for anybody. And I love the fact that you came out here tonight. I hope that Blue is good.
Yes,
So
he
wrap this up.
messaged me that his phone was
that's what
dying.
he said. He's like I'm dying or my like internet access is dying. Either way. But I'll just turn it over for the people in chat. If you guys have any questions, I'll throw them up here for myself or Daniel. Thank you there, Gwen. Thank you there. I'm gonna ask, when I say like the feds and stuff.
The feds. That's an inside joke for us on the Drunk Turkey show. One time we talked about what was his name? Snowden. And all of a sudden, all of our internet started going out and acting crazy on a show once. So that's what the feds is for.
I was like, the feds are here. Look out.
Yeah, no, that's our little inside joke. Every time our internet goes out, we're like, oh man, the feds are coming after us.
Yeah. So, what do you think the biggest piece of like evidence you would have in your favor being the defense and vice versa? Like, what do you think? Like, do you think that the sheath is like a double-edged sword? What do you think there? Because I think it could be possibly like.
I think the sheath can be explained in a bunch of varied reasons or possibilities. Especially if it's just touch DNA, it's not something other than that. I think it can be explained. I think the most important evidence for the defense is probably the fact that, in my opinion, I think there's some things that don't make any sense. One being where his location was as far as the pings go, and at his residence, and where he's taped, 2 miles away at the same time. I think that indicates that there's a possibility of 2 vehicles out there that match the description of his. They use the unique identifier of not having a front license plate, in my opinion. And I think if they can prove that there is 2 vehicles out there that don't have a front license plate that are similar enough to be misidentified for each other, and then that throws a lot of things out. I think also the fact that the pings don't seem to be very reliable. He connected to a phone tower in Moscow on the 14th, and he apparently wasn't there. Those are the things that I think the defense are going to harp in on, because if you're able to prove that those pings aren't reliable or the distance isn't accurate, for instance, let's just say the circle is 10 miles away, then that's going to throw out a lot of those 12 pings that led up to that situation. As far as the prosecution, I think that their biggest deal is probably going to be the touch DNA. You're also having, I think that's what they're going to hold on to. Like, hey, his DNA is on this sheath, but probably more so if they found anything in his devices, that he was following them, elements of planning the incident, those type of things, like Google Maps, if he had routes planned out, things like that, those type of things. I think that would get him. I would assume, but I don't think it's in there. If he had bloody clothes, blood, anything, that would be a big smoking gun, any blood in the car. We don't know what they found in the car yet. Evidence of cleaning chemicals in the car that would have indicated that he cleaned it with a something that would destroy blood evidence. That would be damning evidence. And then you have the hairs that he had at his house. I think that those could be possibly, if one of them comes back to one of the victims, then there's some explaining to do. Now, the red stains on his pillowcase, coming from Pennsylvania, I think that's a more humid area. Moving to Idaho, it's a more drier area. Given the time of year, I think those possibly are blood nose.
Yeah, that's me.
From
It's
him.
That's him. Yeah, like anybody that
Yeah.
doesn't think, yeah, that's just.
And Big Blue had
That
mentioned
could be
too,
like
he's
from like 10 years ago, depending on how old those pills. I mean, it just.
right. And then the other thing is what Blue mentioned to us when we had spoken about it. He's like, in the time frame it took him to get home, the blood would have dried. It would have been flaky. It wouldn't have stained like that. There would have been blood flakes on his bed that they would have been able to pull off if that would have been the case. And so I think those things are probably something else.
So with him saying that, don't you think it's interesting that like if when we're going to hear about the name of like when did you finally get, because they don't really say it in the PCA when they had Brian Kohlberger's name. So to actually hear when like they said, okay, hey, yeah, we actually have it. Like here, I had it. I read it off or whatever. Why didn't you just call him up? Why didn't you just say, hey, we have you, your neighbor, just lie. Like you've been lying to us. Your neighbor said that XYZ, you have a white Elantra that's from a 2000 to a 2010. Like just throw it however you want out so that you can like start talking to this guy. Why don't you think that they ever talk to him?
Honestly, I think they were intimidated of his education. When a police officer pulls somebody over and they say, I'm a lawyer or this or that, they start to question themselves. They need to know that they've done everything correctly. Somebody that knows the procedure and the policy. I think that they would have probably assumed that this guy would have known that he, if they brought him in, that he was, free to leave at any time, that maybe perhaps they were afraid he would play them. I mean, I think that had a lot to play as his education.
So you're telling me that you had 42 to 60 FBI agents on this case.
Right.
And
No, I understand that.
They consulted and said, we shouldn't ask him any questions because we shouldn't see if maybe he'll slip up to be able to use against him at some point.
No, what I think they figured that he was smart enough not to talk, and that if they assumed.
So you think that he would just not talk I get a phone call and I say,
I think he would have talked a little bit, but I think once he would have figured,
I have that.
yeah.
Why did you come forward? Well, I think that they were asking for like a 2011, 2013. I didn't think anything of it, but yeah, I do. I also work at the police. You know what I mean? Like hearing what he would have said to that. Like you didn't think to come forward. Well, I think.
No, I get what you're saying.
2011 to 2013. You know what I'm saying? Like, why wouldn't you at least let him? That's what you do with every criminal. You let them hang themselves. Why wouldn't you do it with him?
Because he's not your everyday criminal. He's
so you think that they already thought that? That means that you think that they already thought that.
If they looked into him and they would have seen, I think they had a record of who he was. I mean, he
has no record.
No. What I mean is, I think they knew who he was, the kind of person that he was. He talked to both chief of police's.
How would they know that you're so that's awesome that you say that, because I would love to a police officer to say that to me on the stand if I was a defense attorney, to say, wait, so you're telling me that we give you a name and then you automatically go and look who they are?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
But that's crazy.
And then
that's gonna help the defense.
That they would have needed,
you guys gotta prep. You cannot say that.
I just feel that they would have probably needed some strong evidence to talk to him, because if they were to pick him up and they don't have much evidence on him, right? They really don't. Up until the point that they got the
they don't
DNA.
have evidence on him right now, in my opinion. They have all circumstantial.
Right, but I
put me
that.
at the
but
police department, and y'all are gonna blow up. You know what I mean? Like back my
right,
car.
but it was even less when the DNA match wasn't there, and so there's that possibility that if they tip him off, they can't. It's very obvious they can't find it. They can't find the weapon. They haven't found it. They haven't found the clothes.
This is an isolated, targeted situation.
Right. I get that, but
I
they
just
haven't
you
found
can't you can't have
found
both
anything tangible. No smoking gun. Where's
Yeah,
the shoes?
think about that. If me and you were just like investigating this, Daniel, I'd be like, "Hey, dude, I just here like this dude's car. Okay, run it back, see if we have. Okay, oh hey, yeah, they have a permit here. Like they live at the Steptoe Apartments. Okay, great. Who's the owner? Okay, what's his number? Do you have his number on there? Okay, let's call him. Let's just see. Hey, we found your car, and let's just lie to him. Like, what did you do with all the fucking Elantras that you found? That's the only one you found.
No, I think they put on there they found 90. Now they're not going to go in there into detail on what they did with all of them unless it hit on something that was pertinent to the case. This one hit on something, so that's why they put everything that they did for it. I don't find that aspect of it being odd or off.
Wait. What part of it?
So the fact that they don't put into the probable cause affidavit what they've learned from all the other Elantras that they
No,
suspect.
they're not going to put that into why they arrested him, but it's going to come
No.
in court. So if
It might, it may not. Like
wait, you don't think that's going to come in court? I'm going to ask you that, Daniel. I'm going to ask you when you ran. Hey, Officer Tanego, you said that you typed in an inquiry here on 1125. Is that correct? And you're going to say, yeah.
Right.
And then I'm going to say, Officer Tanego, when you did that, how many Elantras came up? And then you're going to say, well, we had 79 white Elantras in WSU's campus. Okay, so what did you do then?
Right. No, what they did
What
was
did you do then, officer?
They looked up all the Elantras that were registered for.
So you think that they went through all the Elantras? Wait, what do you mean they looked them up? Like, what do you think they did?
It says in the probable cause that they
They
had
don't say
90.
they looked them all up. That's not what they say, Daniel.
Yeah, it does. It says they had 90 and that they looked at that somebody found his.
No.
They found his car parked.
I wish they said 90. I would love to see 90.
Let me see. I need to go through it. It's been a while.
Honey, what did you when Officer Tanego, when you typed in that, oh, we have 93 Elantras here. Oh my God. Like, what do you mean to do with these? Well, I'm going to send out Officer Whitman to go walk around the campus. And lo and behold, he just finds oh my God, he just found Brian's Elantra in 20 minutes left. Like, get the fuck out of here. That's how you think that happened? I know that it didn't happen like that. I just hope they have body cam footage so that we can just see what happened, But that's just not how that happened. How I could see it happening is this. I could totally do an inquiry, because if I was to be on the stand and somebody asked me, oh, Officer Oriani, what did you do? Well, I typed in Elantras on our campus and it came up, there were 73 of them. Well, then what did you do? Well, then I went ahead and I printed off the addresses and I paid attention to the addresses. And so I started making loops. When did you start making loops? On the 22nd of November, like whatever. And then how many did you come across? Well, I came across 96 of them. Okay, what did you do when you came across the first one? Well, I sent it to the FBI. What did you do when you come across the second one? I sent that one to the FBI. What did you do when you come across the third, fourth, 96th one? I sent every single one of them to the FBI. So you just individually sent, oh yeah, well, I went to them, I found their location, I took a picture of them, and then I sent them. So they would have like the plate, here's me, here's a timestamp, and I sent them. Okay, so how long did that take you to do? Oh my God. Well, I started on November 25th. Like I was working. And then so all I was doing was just like running around looking for these white Elantras on campus. So I went up to each and every one that I could find and I took a picture and then I sent them to the FBI. Why did you send them to the FBI on November 25th? Like, did you know that you're supposed to send them to the FBI? No, I mean, I send them to Officer, like, what's his name? Fry? Like that egg? Yeah, ham, egg and cheese? Yeah, Fry. Him. I sent them to Officer Fry. That's who I sent them to. Okay, so I sent 96 pictures to Officer Fry. And then we came across one. I mean, like, the plates totally didn't match what he wrote down when he originally, like, put his car in. So, like, we got, like, totally... Like, we were just like, who is this guy? And then we went ham on him. What do you mean you went ham on him? We were stalking him. We were like, you only have one plate. Like, no, because he didn't have one plate because he changed his plate on 11/18. So he had 2 plates. So you can't say that. So what'd you do? You're going to ask all of these questions because it's all about what did you do? Okay, so when you found out that all of these people on Idaho's campus had all of these, white Elantras, what did you all do? Well, we just had a bonfire. We didn't do shit. I just don't understand how that is going to work. Like, you have to go through all of these white Elantras. How do you come to Brian Kohlberger's when somebody says I typed something in and then I found Brian's Elantra in 20 minutes? And then somebody else found it 20 minutes after me and I didn't even tell them about it.
Right.
How does that even happen? And then once you do find it, awesome. So you found it. What did you do next? That's all I want to know is what did you do next? Well, we turned it into the police. What do you mean? What do you mean you turned to the police? Well, yeah, we called up officer, whoever, Payne, and we said, hey, yo, bro, we have an Elantra here. Well, you have 96 of them. What do you mean you have an Elantra here? Like, what do you mean? Like, you would have to do that with every single one of them. And if you didn't, then the defense is going to own your ass. And that's what I don't think people understand. When I say, how did you get to Brian Kohlberger? Great, awesome. We typed in Elantras on campus. So then we just went around circling to go find them because you'd already have the addresses. So it wouldn't take that hard to go find them. Once we found them, what did you do when you found them? Did you go and knock on the door? Hey, is that your white Elantra out there? Just curious. On November 13th, what were you doing? Like, what the fuck? Like, what did you do?
They never asked him anything. They just arrested him.
Well, what did you do with any of them? What did you do with any of the tips that you got from the white Elantras? What did you do with it? How did you get to Brian Kohlberger? And you can't say, the people on WSU's campus, they found it. They found how many? How many did they find? What did they do with them when they found them? Did they call them? Nope, nobody called anybody. We just started researching everybody. Well, who the fuck does that? Well, because we knew this was dangerous. You want me to sit here and listen to this shit? We thought it was dangerous. Why did you think it was dangerous? Well, because it was an isolated target attack. So we got to be like, ooh, we got to be so undercover about this. What are you talking about? You want to get people talking so you can use it against them. So let's just call somebody up because let's call somebody up and they say, wait, you want to lunch? I need my lawyer. Who would ever say that? Who would ever say I need my lawyer? Nobody would, right? And when they do, well, radar.
Right.
So why wouldn't I call them and just say, hey guys, we pulled all of or just lie to them like you lied to the public. Hey, your neighbor said that you were a shitbag and you have a white Elantra and we're looking for one. Just say whatever you want. See what they say. Oh my God, on November 13th, my wife was in delivery and I was serving the baby up. Like, what the fuck? Just start asking people. When you say that you did all of this amazing police work, well, where the fuck is it? Because I don't see a goddamn thing that's been done. Sorry for the GDs. But like, think about it. Like, me and you are working together. We got to go and do our police working, right? How would we get answers unless we don't ask questions? How do we get answers without asking questions?
No, I get what you're saying. A lot of those questions hopefully are going to be answered in more detailed paperwork in those 995 pages that they submitted. But if they're not, if they're not, then
okay. I just think this is a shit show. If you want me to be honest, so you want me to just think that?
No. What I'm saying is, I don't know. Like, that's information that I don't know. Like, I get what you're saying, but the other aspect is, like, the police don't have to show us their entire hand.
No, I don't want the police to show me shit. Right. I'm asking you if me and you are working a case, and I want to know if Bobby gave Timmy a blowjob. How do we find this out? Well, can we just ask Bobby? if you gave him a blood draw?
Right. No, I get that. Why not, just ask the question.
And then see what he
But
says. And when he says no, well, then he lied to us, right? When we can find him, find out the truth because we have, I don't know, DNA in Bobby's mouth or some shit. But at the end of the day, we would just ask a question and see what happens, right? So if you did this for Brian Kohlberger and you put everybody on fucking cloud 9 for Brian Kohlberger, did you do this with everybody? You cannot say that, oh, when it came to this guy, we did X, Y, and Z, but when it came to everybody else's tip that we got in, which was 10,000 tips, we just ignored them all.
right.
I am pissed. And I'd be pissed if I lived in that town. Because
I'm not saying
how
that
did you get to
don't
Brian
correct that.
Kohlberger? Tell me what you did. Tell me that every time you got a lead, like you told us that you were doing, hey, I spent my time trying to help you guys, right? I spent my time as a U.S. citizen helping to find this white Elantra, right? Think about that, Daniel. Would you not be pissed to know that me and you were over here fluffing it up for a 2011 white Elantra, but they needed a 2015? And we're over here.
No, I agree. I was pretty disappointed when, I looked at the probable cause affidavit and it seemed like the police department were lying about a lot of things, especially about the facts of when people were home, when people were awake, things of that nature. The initial reports were that the surviving victims slept through the incident, and that wasn't the case. There was a lot of things that weren't the case, and so. I get the frustration and the understanding that, but the other thing is too, they don't want to put too much information out there because they don't want to.
Because they don't know it.
They may not know it. They also may not want to.
They're gonna get
screw up
slammed.
the jury. I mean, there's a lot of things.
If Ann Taylor's as good as I think she is with the clothing line that she puts out, she should own them, right?
I don't know. I don't know what else is there. I mean, I would like to see the evidence.
I think that I just think that I'm putting it out there to explain to you guys, if you're paying attention to the whole universe, listen to what I'm saying. If you drove a Blazer and we just came to your house and we're like, we're arresting you because you drive a Blazer, you'd be like, what? Wouldn't you be like, what? You didn't even ask me any questions about this whole event. You didn't ask me anything. I just get fucking handcuffed. I wasn't even questioned. Like Scott Peterson, did he get questioned? Chris Wath, did he get questioned? Name these people that you did. What is it? The Murdoch murders. Was he questioned? You got Brian Kohlberger, never questioned. Let's just handcuff him.
No, yeah, that's not a move that I would have probably. No,
but just why?
Myself.
Why? Why are we on him? I just want to know why we're on him. Now, if you tell me that one of the surviving roommates say, hey, I was sleeping with him, I could buy it. Give me some connection here. But they're not giving that up.
Right.
And so
and I
can only
that.
hope that there's a connection, because that's how you would get to Brian Kohlberger. You get to Brian Kohlberger when you throw some 6-packs at people to say, hey, do you know X, Y, Z? That's how you would get there. And then when someone's like, oh my God, yeah, I know that his name's Timmy. And you're like, wait, his name's not Timmy. His name's Brian. Why do you know him as Timmy? Oh, he told me his name was Timmy. Now we're getting somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to get somewhere. And that is what I hope the prosecution has. I hope the prosecution has this. Well, everybody knew him as John Smith. And when we threw some pictures, because once we got the WSU sending us stuff of all of these Elantras, we started siphoning all of these to all the friends to look at these 6-pack of photos. And then somebody was like, oh my God, that's John.
Right.
And they're like, well, who's John? You get what I'm saying? You get me there. Get me to bridge this gap. If you can't bridge this gap, if you don't have that, I think that you're in trouble. So that's just my opinion. And any way you look at it, if you put some time into it, if you're the defense, you'll destroy it. But if you also put some time into it, if you are the prosecution, you will have your guy. But we should never want anybody to be falsely accused and then convicted. And if Brian Kohlberger wasn't the only person, everybody involved, you should want to go down. No immunity here. We don't need your immunity. If we're talking about 4 college, if you're a parent, Daniel, you want immunity on somebody that opened up the door for your kid to get murdered?
No, not at all. I mean, I understand
No.
that aspect. I get it. I get it.
I don't know how, like, but they
I
weren't
don't
including the
think.
parents. They just were like, hey, this is isolated. It was just, it's just too patty cakes. Here we go. We got you X and we got you A. Now fill it all in. That's what this is. And if y'all want to believe that, then you can believe that.
No, I agree. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of holes. I've been saying this since the beginning. There is. I want to know what the rest of the evidence is. I feel that there should be more based on Exhibit A from what was released, but it's just one of those things. I think time will tell. And if there's not more than this,
how many of these probable causes have you ever filled out that you would never just like beef it to the point that you're like, all right, not only we're getting the arrest, but like, hello, you see what we kind of have, that you maybe would want to waive your preliminary hearing?
all right, so run that by me. How many probable causes have I seen that would make somebody else waive their hearing?
Yeah, like, I mean, there's been people out there that will waive it, so that there's reasons that you would waive it, right?
Well, I think that the reason why he waived it was because in Idaho,
No, but he didn't waive the preliminary hearing. He waived the time
the speed
frame
of it, right? Yeah, because it's supposed to happen within 14 days. And I think he wanted more time with the evidence than 14 days to be able to build a defense.
No, I think his lawyer had to say, like, we can't, like, his lawyer coaxed him into saying, like, we can't go through all that. Like, we don't know. Like, I can't defend you in 13 days or 14 days on that. But you have the right to do that, but I can't properly defend you. So I'm going to talk you out of that because I'm being truthful when I say, like, I don't even know what we're talking about here.
Right.
So the only person that's talking you out of 14 days is your attorney, in my opinion.
Perhaps. I mean, you know,
I'm just
possible. I just think that they would assume that there's a lot of evidence here. I think that they had put out a few days also for when the trial is to go over the preliminary hearing. I believe it was what I had heard. I'm not sure how true that is.
Yeah,
they made the trial like a few days to review the evidence. I think they were assuming there was a lot of it. Now that this is out and they have it, maybe they'll want to expedite it or something. But yeah, I mean, it's.
I don't know how anybody's walking away from this case being like Brian Kohlberger is the person.
I mean,
without being biased.
Right. No, I get what you're saying.
Like where is
I feel that there's
innocent until proven
possibility.
guilty? I want, if Brian Kohlberger is the guy, burn him at the stake, right? But where is this, like, why aren't we like innocent until proven guilty? Why is everybody out there in the media wanting to like isn't that sad though? Like, think about this. What if this is a black guy, or what if, like, you know what I mean? Like, to be honest, if this was black people, we wouldn't even be talking about this, right? Isn't that just sad? Isn't that sad?
No, I get it. I understand that. You know, there is the portrayal from the media and the news that, you know, certain crimes get certain attention for certain reasons. And I understand that. And yeah, there's a lot of, sad and unfortunate things that are out there. I'll definitely agree to that.
Yeah, I guess I don't understand. Like, it's just what media coverage right now, if it wasn't for like YouTube to like press it hard up to be like, listen, where are the rights of, like, listen, we are all innocent until proven guilty. Like, why aren't we pressing on that?
No, I agree. You know, and you know, that might be another reason why they pushed out the preliminary hearing so far, to allow
to like flush it out, right?
Yeah, to allow it to die down a little bit.
Yes.
So, you know, the
But
information.
see, like, you're not going in front of a jury though when you do the preliminary hearing. Isn't that sad though?
No, correct. But pushing the preliminary hearing will push the actual hearing itself. So it's pushing everything further down the line.
Yeah.
So there's
Which
that
I think I
possibility.
agree with 100%. I would flush it out as far as I could, and that's what I would sell to my client, right? I would be like, dude, you're being nailed in the media right now. like, and it's
Right.
in like a bad way, and like that shouldn't be the case. Like nobody knows anything, and but as soon as like cops arrest somebody, it's like they're the one.
Right.
And I just think that, not saying like that's not hating on law enforcement, that's just like it's a double-edged sword. We want to praise law enforcement, they found somebody, but then we also have to praise the fact that like our judicial system says that you are innocent until proven guilty, but here we are, everybody wants to like burn him, and I just think that that's unfortunate for anybody, because if you do it the right way, he's going to go down. Just do it the right way and get everybody involved.
I
That's
think
my thing.
that's not a wrong approach.
Yeah.
You know,
And so, how do you feel about News Nation possibly finding a wanted fugitive of 2 counties and doing an interview? Are you okay with it? I'm okay with it. You know why? Because I put a satellite up, and if they wanted to run a track on it, they could have went and found the IP address and arrested her, right? So and in my sense, helped. But nobody went and arrested her.
right. I get it, but I don't think it's a good look to arrest the mother of a victim in this situation. Especially if, depending on the crime, but the crime that she's been committed or alleged to have been is one that I would use discretion on, as far as waiting a little bit.
Well, but we have like 60 FBI agents all over this. Like, wouldn't she want to like maybe like talk to her about possibly what she knows? I mean, I don't know. Like, everybody wants to know everything that they can about Brian Kohlberger. We're screaming conflict of interest. What did you tell Ann Taylor? Right? Think about that. And we're gonna leave off on that note. So we'll leave off on that note.
Sounds good to me. I want to say thank you so much for having us on. Blue had to go because of his phone dying, and thank you so much for bringing us. I really truly enjoyed the conversation.
I just enjoy education. When you can talk to somebody in like a non-biased way, like that's why I appreciated you guys. That's why I was like, yeah, I'll go on your show. Like, hell yeah,
Awesome.
you guys just keep it real.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's our goal.
y'all are just keeping it real. So,
yeah.
Again, thank you to the mods, thank you to the subs, thank you to everybody from the Drunk Turkey Show for coming over.
Yes.
Again, Daniel, thank you so much for being here. Blue, I know that your phone died, but we love you too. You know what I mean? Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Scott said, he's like, I am so sorry. He's like, I owe you big time. So, but he said he wanted to do it when you were on panel as well. He did make
Awesome.
that a thing. So
Awesome.
I'd
I'd love to talk to him. Awesome.
No,
Let me
he's
know
awesome.
and I'll be back.
That's awesome.
I'll be back for sure.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Please, if you have not subscribed, get on over there to Drunk Turkey, subscribe, check it out. We want to get them to 30K. You guys are really close, right?
Yeah, when I got on here, we were just shy of like 29. Yeah, we're still there. We're at 28.8.
28.8?
895. So we're about
There you go. Well,
1,105.
all of you guys that are here right now, if you are not over there, go over there, subscribe, check out the video that we did last Friday. Plus, you have a couple videos that you guys have done with Kim and other people. So go check it out, okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a great night.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. See you guys later.
Bye.
I'm out. See you guys. Bye-bye.